That's what I'm thinking of.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, those
It's based on a
vampires.
true story.
Fuck you, bro. That movie scared me as a kid.
It is. I think it kind of is.
Or is it
honestly.
30 Days of Night? 30 Days of Night.
Or 40 days.
Oh,
30
fuck.
days.
30 Days of Night.
Yeah, because that same guy was in a different movie called like 40.
30 Days and 30 Nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
30 Days of Night.
of night. Yeah.
Yeah, 2007. What the fuck is that guy's name?
Honestly, though, Google true story.
Josh Hartnett. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got something to do like a city.
It's got a fucking 91% on.
It's a great movie. Scared
Yeah.
the shit out of me when I was in the theater.
Fuck yeah, and the vampires are actually fucking cool, man.
They're gnarly.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lost Boys a little bit, you know?
Yes. It is based on something.
Is it?
Yeah, like a city did get.
Based on the comic book miniseries.
And it was based on
Yeah.
something.
I'm just reading it. That's why I know. I'm only reading the fucking what the internet tells me, bro.
Oh, it might be in the movie actually. Like at the beginning of it, they say something like,
Small town of Barrow, Alaska experiences a solid month of darkness every year.
right.
Whoa, how the fuck did I remember the first scene of the movie?
You saw it last night.
No, I'm just reading the fucking
No,
synopsis.
you fucking watched it last night, dude.
Here, look. In the far northern hemisphere.
Wow, you sounded like
Fucking Thanos?
no, the dude, the guy who narrates the dude. The
Oh,
movie of The Big Lebowski.
fucking Jeff Bridges?
Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff Bridges, bro.
Are you two brothers? No. Yes.
Steve Butabi? Doug Butabi? Your brothers? No.
I think a good vampire werewolf movie are Underworld.
Okay, don't mention my fucking bae.
I'm telling you.
Emily knows I have a crush on her. Kate Beckinsale.
It is what it is.
I don't know why people a lot of other people don't agree with me.
Who?
I don't know, but I always get like that weird because like a lot of
Are you talking to dudes who are into other dudes?
no, I'm talking to dudes that are into like
'Cause that's
Scarlett Johansson and like
So?
the
Should be the
typical.
same. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Scarlett Johansson's not a beautiful woman, but she's not like I don't know. She's Kate Beckinsale gives me like very like similar vibes to like the type of women that I'm attracted to. You
And
know what I
she's
mean?
like 68.
Statistically, is she?
No, she's
No,
like
she's not.
55.
Didn't she
gonna
date
say 55.
Pete Davidson for a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I saw them freaking tangling tongues at a fucking basketball game, and somebody got a picture of it, and it was fucking hilarious. They memed the fuck out of it. She's 47.
But those are good movies.
Underworld? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking tickling my throat.
Seriously. Apologize.
Anywho, yeah, Kate Beckinsale's 47, but anyway, we didn't get to the point. What's your favorite
That'd be it, probably. I think the Underworld.
Underworld?
Maybe.
I don't know. Is that really, that's really a Halloween movie?
Well, that's not what you asked.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what I asked.
We turned it into monster movies.
I know.
Does it have to be about Halloween?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at because
What are the 8 movies I have to choose from then?
oh man, there's so many Halloween movies.
That are about October 31? The
Yeah, I
fucking
mean, or you could go Day of the Dead, or you could go
Day of the Dead.
yeah.
That was
freaking
just a zombie movie.
Dia de las Muertas.
Yeah, that was just a zombie
Muertos.
movie.
Yeah, muertos. It's a masculine.
Dawn of the Dead. You ever seen that?
Oh, dude, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like what's your favorite scary movie? There it is. What's your favorite scary movie? Ow, Underworld's not scary. That's the second time I've done that.
It can be scary.
No, it's not scary.
You're right.
It's cool. It's
You're
like a
right.
hero movie.
It's true.
Yeah, it's like Hellboy. Hellboy's not scary.
Dawn of the Dead was good. I saw that in theaters with a buddy and his mom.
Yeah,
Because we had to get in. You know, it was rated R. We were like kids.
kind of like bought the PG-13 ticket and snuck into the other movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like she was just like, "Fuck it, let's go." Because we like, yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
But we walked out. You remember that movie? It was about they were in the mall. There was like It was a zombie movie. They were in the mall and they were on the roof of the mall,
Yeah.
surrounded by thousands of zombies at this mall, and they're trying to get out.
I don't remember this movie.
Dude, the movie's really good.
What is it called?
Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, I thought I've seen. Oh, I'm thinking Shaun of the Dead. What the fuck?
Shaun of the Dead was a play on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawn of the
Oh
Dead.
shit, man! I've never seen Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, it's so great.
2004, or maybe I haven't. I just don't remember it. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I remember that dude.
And it's shot on like during the day most of the time.
Zack Snyder. Holy shit,
Where
man!
they're killing zombies.
Justice League.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
We leave that theater and it's an empty parking lot during the middle of the day. It's the scariest fucking parking lot I've ever been in. It's like, let's go. Let's go.
Dude, that's scary as fuck. And then you're
So
like
great.
in the exact
Help.
environment the movie is happening in.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of eerie. Thinking about like all the pandemic movies that we watched during the beginning of COVID. Did you watch any like end of the world movies when all that shit
What's that
happened?
one pandemic movie?
With Morgan Freeman? Pandemic.
No, you're right. You're right. I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Oh, dude, we watched that.
What about
That
the movie
gave me
Quarantine?
nightmares. Yes, that movie's scary.
Where they're in the apartment
Yeah,
complex?
and I
Yes.
can see the cover, the poster of the movie. It's like the fucking night vision.
Right.
Yeah, and
Kind of
it's
like the Blair Witchy.
exactly, yeah. It's fucking like like I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Found footage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity, that type of movie.
Have you ever seen the movie VHS?
I think you showed that movie to
Dude,
me.
that movie, the first, scary.
That's scary,
The
too.
first one is good.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's all found, but it's all the premise of found footage.
yeah,
That these
and
dudes are
that's
putting in.
that's a weird concept of a movie because it's like it makes you think about the types of situations that are actually probably real that have happened like that. You know what I mean? Like it's
How many
probably
people are there in the world? Yeah.
well, yeah,
exactly.
and how
having conversations.
the inspiration from the director came from. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
conglomeration of a lot of true stories to, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's
Totally.
dramatized to make it more fun to watch, and that's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
Scary
No,
movies are intriguing.
I like zombie movies. Fuck yeah. Zombies are cool.
I really like the whole Black Mirror concept of like making you think afterwards. It's a challenging thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You either love it or you hate it.
I enjoyed that series.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like not just Black Mirror. I'm saying movies like that, where it's like question your morals, questioning humanity. Like
Oh, yeah.
Human Centipede was kind of that way too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just kind of like left a kind of weird taste in your mouth, not for lack of a better term. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that. Yeah, that's a kind of extreme example, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're
The
saying.
psychological fuck afterwards that a movie does to you sometimes. Even war movies kind of do that a little bit,
Sometimes.
especially if you've been there.
Yeah, if they're good.
Yeah. Dude, I was talking to somebody about Band of Brothers
It's a
the
good
other day.
series. Yeah.
So good. So historically accurate.
Yeah.
And not that I was there, but like I watched a fuck ton of modern marvels and, you know, documentaries on History Channel at dawn growing up, you know. So, but anyway, we got a few more things to cover here before the end of the podcast. We got any more MMA news that you want to cover before we move on to the question of the day? I guess we kind of have a weird concept that we do every day, kind of bring up a little stoner thought. It's kind of cool, but did we didn't talk about OSP testing positive? That's why his fight got canceled. He tested
Yeah.
positive for COVID. He was supposed to be on the Frankie Edgar fight, wasn't he?
Yeah, the other day.
So, what we got next? We got Lionheart coming up this weekend.
I'm excited,
Yeah,
yeah.
bro. I
I like
don't know.
watching him fight.
I want to see him lose, but Jeremy seems to think he's going to lose. I really like that guy a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he trains out here in Colorado, Factory X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The comments from the Peanut Gallery is, like, pretty good friends with him, I assume, because he trains at the same gym.
Who's that?
It's another local Colorado podcaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I follow him on social media and
I didn't even hear you say any name. at all.
comments. I think his podcast is called Comments from the Peanut Gallery.
Oh, I thought you were just saying that.
No. Yeah, that's
Oh.
like
Wow.
quote. That's the name of his shit. But anyways, I don't know. I'm questionable as far as the longevity of Anthony Smith's career if he loses his fight.
We're going to find out. Because he could fight. I think he could fight. You know, because Dominic Reyes and who else? I forget. Is fighting for that open belt right there, right? So the belt's open. There's the spots open for new lightweight superstars, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to that next. Continue.
That was really all I had, I think.
There is a lot of room for them, and I think
Anthony Smith could be a real contender, I feel.
I do, but I think he's on like a 4-fight losing streak.
No, he just won.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm fucking talking out my ass.
Yeah, he just the second round.
Oh yeah, he had a comeback fight. Mm-hmm. He was just not. It wasn't really anybody.
He got a choke, so it wasn't crazy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't watch that fight, so I'm discounting Anthony Smith. So maybe he is on a rise, and Jeremy talking shit about him losing made me kind of feel like he's on a downward spiral. Because he was at the top for a little bit. He was fighting with
He fought John Jones.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, he was fighting John Jones. He fought freaking Gustafson. And, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's like, he was within the top 5 for a while. And I don't know, maybe I'm discounting him. But either way, I hope he wins. That's what I was getting to. I don't want to see him lose. I like the guy. Leon Edwards challenges Jorge Masvidal to a street fight. How does that make you feel, Dylan?
Happy.
Do you think it'll happen?
No.
Why?
Because how are they going to make money?
Oh, it's social media.
What is that?
They'll make money off of fucking merch. They'll make money off of, you know what I'm saying?
Unsanctioned fight. Merch, yeah.
Yeah.
They're selling their own merch.
Yeah, and that's UFC is now allowed.
Ads.
No.
Yeah.
No, it'll be. Here's my. I don't think it'll actually be a street fight. That's what I'm saying. I think they might be able to work a deal where, I don't know. Do you think Jorge and Leon would be able to work a 1-fight deal with Bare Knuckle?
Well, that'd be a weird thing. No. Because
Dana wouldn't let him?
Hell no. Because you're in contract there.
Yeah.
The UFC lawyers have got you when you sign that contract.
Yeah, you can't do cross-promotion shit.
Which is,
even though Conor did.
Different sport.
Yeah. I mean is Bare Knuckle a different sport?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what I'm saying is that.
I doubt. Yeah, definitely not. You're right, but definitely not Bare Knuckle.
Yeah, and that's yeah, exactly. They're going away damaged as like they fought 4 fights.
Might not fight again, yeah.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't say that or go that far. That's rare.
You catch a weird knuckle in the eye.
Oh yeah, if that but that has yet to happen in Bare Knuckle yet. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is still on the roster that started.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean, maybe as you know.
Sure. Yeah, I'm making it seem like I fucking know
and
everything
people
about
could
Bare
be
Knuckle.
sitting there on their couch right now going, I'm fucking never taking a fight again.
Yeah, maybe so. And that's the thing is like you just don't know because it's so early. You know, a lot of people aren't, speaking out because it's a building sport right now.
Definitely.
Yeah, and they kind of hush about all the shit that's going wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck, yeah,
I
we gotta
thought you were
kind of
gonna
bury
say
that
going
under the rug.
on.
Yeah, no, it's like shove that piece of fucking pile of dust underneath the rug for now. We'll wait on it until we have more money to fucking pay lawyers.
No shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, bro. But I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see them fight either way. That whole freaking 3-piece and soda is still to this day it needs to be a fight shirt and needs to be said multiple times on an embedded. And KFC needs to be on the octagon. Like that shit, it's too good. You know what I mean?
Is.
Dana needs to take advantage of it. And with did you hear about KFC getting rid of their slogan?
No.
Yeah, so KFC discontinued their finger licking good slogan because it's kind of ill-advised with the whole COVID thing.
Sure.
So it'd be cool to kind of have Game Bread be their spokesman and fucking 3-piece and a soda.
Yeah.
It wasn't a 2-piece? Yeah, it was a 2-piece and a soda. Yeah, sorry. I gave him the 2-piece and a soda. I thought he said 3-piece.
I don't know. I just want a hamburger.
I want a Five Guys burger.
Whoa.
I want an In-N-Out fucking 4x4 animal style with animal fries and a Neapolitan shake, please.
Now, what does that mean exactly?
It means heaven Yeah.
Came down.
It means heaven in a palm tree.
The wrapping, like a
in a palm tree bag.
Paper bag wrapping.
Yeah, in
palm tree bag.
Yeah, because In-N-Out has the little palm trees going around the bag.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's kind of really sad because I can't get it. It's like White Castle. You know what I mean? Like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. You and I, if we if we were able to be our true selves, we would fucking drop everything and drive to the nearest In-N-Out just cause.
And get a hotel just to eat.
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's a whole fucking video series. That's a vlog.
Dude, it's so good.
And that's what's so cool about it is like there's certain people that would absolutely fucking love watching that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's real life.
David after dentist.
Is this real life? Is this real life?
Like, yeah, bud.
It is, dude.
Welcome to it.
Is this going to be forever? Fucking, you remember
Unfortunately, no.
Vader after is this, keep your fingers out of your vent, Vader. Is this going to be forever? Then he starts fucking force nah! Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that one's just as funny. Good take on it. But anyways, we had a funny stoner thought the other minute ago. That was kind of a weird way to think of it, but it sounded right.
And it is right.
Sure. Yeah. Did Vikings or what
Not
if?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know they didn't.
Right.
That's stupid.
Pretty sure they did.
Yeah, I wasn't there. They might have, but how cool is it to think of the thought that if Vikings and fucking like Celtic warriors and shit like that had access to heavy metal,
and you were around them hearing it for the first time.
it's like
hey, let me plug my aux in.
Yeah, it's like Beethoven at the mall in Bill and Ted.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And these guys are just like fucking, they have probably in the hundreds for fucking confirmed kills, and they're just fucking just gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just completely detached from their reality. They think that they're fucking demigods. Like,
I think they would naturally mosh.
What do you mean?
They would just naturally open
just
up
start
a pit.
fighting.
They would already know.
Yeah.
Open the pit up.
I don't know, though. You know what I mean? It could just fuck them up. You know what I mean?
Would. Definitely would.
Oh, just, like, put them in fucking just awe. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Like, you wouldn't know what to do.
You're now a god.
Yeah. Because then it's like...
You're the god of sound.
Yeah, they've never heard the concepts. Like, music theory wasn't a thing. The fucking guitar, you know what I mean? Could you imagine being an ancient man hearing the fucking guitar?
I mean...
It would sound like... you would be an alien.
Yeah?
It would be like, stop playing that. You know what I mean? It would be...
I mean, I remember hearing the Beatles the first time.
Well, true, but it was like, it was shown to you as like a...
Hey,
like an accepted thing.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's not unnatural for you to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not just riding your horse.
Yeah, it's not like you're just walking up
over
to
the
it.
hills.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? You heard that, right?
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
Oh.
That's how I would look.
Oh, yeah. I was like, did you hear something?
No,
I heard the
yeah,
honk.
shit. Oh, well, yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, I think that would be a funny concept. Just for like a TV show too, like just to see it as a skit. A bunch of people dressed up like Vikings hearing fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just a funny fucking thing to hear. Or to think about. Just some fucking massive killer hearing fucking
We know they
Johnny
tripped
Be
on
Good.
mushrooms.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot
Probably
of
got
different
stoned.
civilizations did. I mean, humans have been taken... We were just talking about the fucking fungus, man. It's been a part of our fucking world since we've been around. And it's weird that you kind of neglect thinking about it.
Well, yeah, they'd never been able to really do research on them.
Well, they've been able to do research on them. They just haven't been able to do research on the psychedelic ones.
Certain ones.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy about it is that there's so many different species of mushrooms. Yeah, and that's what's cool about it is it's like we're just now breaking the fucking ice, man. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, fucking Denver. I think Denver now has certain shops that will gift psilocybin mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah, they're just giving them away because you can't sell them yet.
Yeah, you just might have to donate.
Well, they're decriminalized.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's still that. You know how like the weed clubs and like the wax bars and shit had the weed that you could buy there, and you weren't buying it, you were donating to the place.
Oh, there's a church here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not technically a dispensary, but they have their
own. Church.
Yeah, they have
$40. They're gonna give you half an hour. There you go, buddy.
Yeah, it's like here's your medicine for the day. Because God said
you earned this.
Because God said you could. Yeah.
Showed up on Sunday.
Hey man, if you have to bring.
We've smoked their weed. It's garbage.
Really?
Yeah. It's
oh, Eddie got some.
Yeah, his associates.
His associates. That's funny. Yeah, New View is definitely the place to go if you want the quality.
Definitely.
I just had to bring it up again. Anyways, so Vikings having metal is a cool thing. What do you think, like, Viking women would think of it? Because I mean, I don't know. I feel like historically they're very strong. You know what I mean?
Shield maidens.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what they're called.
Okay.
I mean, the warriors, right?
Yeah.
Shield maiden.
Sure, but they weren't all warriors, were they?
No.
No, there were. I kind of imagine and I draw the similarities to like Spartans and Vikings. You know what I mean?
A little.
But I feel like Vikings are a hell of a lot more connected to their spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're more mythological in their thinking than Spartans are.
Right.
And that's what's so intriguing about the Nordic culture.
I love the mythology.
Oh, dude, it's so like rich. You know what I mean? It makes you have complex thought even if you are educated on it.
Yeah.
It's like, but why? You know what I mean?
I've always loved it.
And it's not, and people make it a religion, and it is a religion. You can, be a pagan, and because that's the religion that they practiced was paganism, but it's hard. It's not as...
It's hard?
Oh, dude, have you ever looked it up? How
to be a practicing?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's fucking... Well, a lot of American culture historically is based off of paganism.
No, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But there's people that are actually try to be like actual pagan and not okay. Like I would never want to do it.
No.
It's like like there's people that claim to be Catholic and there's like they're not actually Catholic.
Yeah, they've never sacrificed a goat.
Yeah, and that's there's that fire and brimstone,
right?
Extremities of religion, and that's where it's like, why make it so black and white? Why not just appreciate the story of it all and just fucking take it for what it is for you and move on? That's what I think it should be.
Paganism.
I don't know. You're stoned and you're not listening.
Believe in the All-Father.
I'm going deep.
Just thinking about God of War.
You've been playing that.
It's so great.
Oh, man. We've been talking to freaking this weekend, dude. Bill and Ted. August 28th.
Isn't it
on
Friday?
Yeah, it is Friday.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah, Friday. What is it? 26th?
Face the music.
Dude, I still need to watch the first two again before the movie comes out.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Should we just we just start early on Friday, early, whenever.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. I think it's a plan now. What do you think this movie's about? Because I mean, really, realistically, Bill and Ted Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey are two completely different fucking movies.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that don't know actually what Bill and Ted is.
Right. The first one is they have a book report due, or history report.
Yeah, they're going to fail. They're going to fail history.
And fucking, is Ted or Bill, which I forget, Keanu, is about to get sent to military school.
Ted.
Yeah.
Theodore Logan.
Theodore Logan.
Yeah.
He's about to get sent to military school.
If he fails. Yeah. And that's what sucks, man. You know, you got to go time travel, you know.
But because they get gifted this time machine from fucking, what's his name?
Rufus.
George Carlin. Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. They fucking because they're they save the world in the future, so they have to stay in school.
They saved the world in the future from writing the world's greatest song.
And that's what Face the Music is about.
Yeah.
Is they have to write that song now.
Sure. And absolutely the premise of it is they have to face the music, but like because we know the story intricately, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where do you think? Because they're also melding. They're bringing Grim Reaper back.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to go to hell at some point. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is less of time travel and more interdimensional. Because you know they saw the other Bill and Ted that's
they go
roided
see
out.
A bunch of them different selves.
Yeah. It's kind of like Rick and Morty a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I like that, and I hope it's that way. You know what I mean?
I agree.
For our entertainment pleasure. You know what I mean? Like that's something that I would love to watch over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because that's like you can appreciate the little intricacies of the different characters that these two guys, are playing. Like even I made fun of the cheesy fucking bodybuilder, but I feel like that's going to be one of many.
I'm excited that we're going to be able to just sit here and be...
Yeah, it's on video on demand, and that's what's cool about it, too.
Baked.
Yeah, we get... And
with snacks. We'll hit up Walgreens.
Dude, Cheez-Its. Fuck you, David Blaine. Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. Every time I hear Cheez-Its.
I do like Cheez-Its, though.
Hey, man. I love Cheez-Its, too.
The half and half cheddar.
I like the duos. Sharp cheddar and bacon.
Exactly. Bacon?
Oh, yeah. They have a sharp cheddar and bacon one.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Or the jalapeno ones are damn good, too.
Oh, yeah. All Cheez-Its are good, man. We're going to get some Cheez-Its for the new Bill and Ted movie. But that's what I think, man. I think it's going to be interdimensional travel. I think they got a new time machine. I think from stills that I've seen, there's a robot character that's in the future.
Okay.
And I think Bill and Ted are going to be doing some ass kicking as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I think.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm down. I was always in.
Oh, yeah. I'm from the get-go, I'm in. But I think we've never really dove deep on what we think it's going to be about. And I think that's a good assumption.
I'm excited.
Here's what Google has as a premise. Now enduring the monotony of middle-aged life, Bill and Ted are warned by a visitor from the future of the need for them to create a song in 78 minutes that will save all of life on Earth and the entire universe. The pair work with their families, old friends, famous musicians, and others to complete the task.
Cameo after cameo.
Oh, bro. And that's what's so cool about it is they showed a couple of the cameos in the trailer. And they were obvious people that needed to be in the movie still.
Yeah.
Like Misty, you know, fucking Ted's dad, Reaper, you know. And I like that they showed the daughters, who the daughters are playing. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like the new gen kind of thing. They could bring it into a whole universe thing. Yeah. If they wanted to, depending on how good this movie does. Kid Cudi's in it. I love Kid Cudi.
I do too.
I love all of his music, all of like Wiz Khalifa, that era of kind of stoner like chill rap is very cool with me. I like that kind of stuff.
I agree completely. That might be what happens.
It's like lo-fi. It's like lo-fi rap. Yeah.
It is, but like
sure.
exactly with good.
Yeah, it's good lyrics.
Lyrics.
Sure. I'm on the pursuit of happiness, and I know.
And that was fucking, I didn't know for the longest time, that was Rat-a-Tat. Have you heard of them?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, was it? I think, yeah. I think so. I think that's
I remember that fucking movie
maybe fucking
that showcased that song. What was that?
Project X. That was a
Project
different
X,
song.
bro.
Yeah.
That fucking movie was cool. But anyway, we're going to get out of here pretty soon. But before we do, we're going to talk about this little fucking workout regimen we got going on, man. If you want to check them out, it's just the website called oldschoolbodybuilding.com, I think. Really. Let me pull up the logo right quick.
It's supposed to be from the 70s. Bodybuilding from the 70s, right? Like Arnold era. Columbo, you know. What happened?
Nothing. I'm good. Trying to pull up the logo so I can remember. Old School. I think that's the name of it. It's just called Old School. And they have a line of supplements. They have a line of workouts that you can do. But we've been kind of adapting that freaking 70s bodybuilding vibe. Freaking eating whole eggs. Eating that freaking protein. You know? And I've been feeling good with it, you know?
Same. For real.
I'm going to just keep it consistent. Guys like freaking Serge Newbritt, Frank Zane, Franco Columbo, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The golden age.
Yeah, man. And it's simple, man. Just freaking keep a balanced diet, you know? Watch your macros and keep good form when you're lifting.
And finish the work. Just finish the workouts.
Yeah, exactly. Finish the workouts.
Finish the workouts, finish the program, and you'll change.
Yeah, and do the program over and over again until it gets easy. You know?
Right. And then add weight.
Fuck yeah.
Too easy, man.
Anyways.
What the fuck else do you want from me? You know?
I don't know, man. We got to thank fucking New View Pharma once again for always being great and true.
Are you sick of listening to podcasts where all you get is the same old guy whining and complaining, talking about his fantasy team and his favorite team? Well, I got a solution for you. This is Green Bay Greg from the Green Bay Greg Show, found on the RTF Network, Wednesdays, 2 p.m., 1 p.m. Central, Wednesday afternoon. So here's the thing. Eat lunch, slack off, take the rest of the day off. Green Bay Greg.
What's going on, Triple Shot Sports family? This is Brandon Combs, host of the best podcast on the planet. That's the Triple Shot Sports Podcast. Be sure to join myself and Soup Boss Chad Lounder live for 2 hours. Yes, I said 2 hours every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Central on the RTF Sports Network Facebook page and YouTube. And if you miss any part of the show, you can hear us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on your drive home at 5 p.m. Eastern on rtfsportsnetwork.com.
You know what that sound is? That's the sound of a new time and a new day from Mike on the Mic on the RTF Sports Network. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. Mike on the Mic, a spin-off show of Twist, the weekend sports talk.
Fall is calling. Make it your own at home with new and exclusive decor, on-trend florals, and fresh project ideas from Michaels. Visit Michaels.com to find a store near you.
Red Sox fans have won the Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to get to the point. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Welcome to Triple Shot Sports. I am your host, Brandon Combs, joined today by a guest host, Wayne G. Wayne, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, it's going pretty good. Obviously, you guys know me from Infinity Sports, and I filled in a couple of times here. I did make fun of Chad's age last time, only to find out he's younger than me, so I will not do that this time.
Well, what's funny too is that he got caught up with some electrical issues, had a power outage at his house, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna have Wayne fill in, and he goes, well, you tell that old bastard that I said to have fun tonight. All right, so we got a good show lined up for you guys. We've got, we're going to talk NBA, we're going to talk MLB power rankings. We've got Mike Reeves from Twist. He is going to join us today to talk the NFL power rankings here in just a moment. But first, I wanted to reach back out to you guys, let you guys know, we're doing good things on Facebook. We got a lot of people coming in, liking the page, sharing. We're starting to get more numbers out there on our YouTube page for sure. You guys know you can find us on Twitter at 3Shot Sports and Instagram at 3Shot Sports. That's the number 3Shot Sports. So make sure you guys get onto the YouTube page, subscribe. We got some giveaways coming up for you. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. I've actually come up with a new way to get more people added. So you guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned so you guys can figure out what's going on there. But let's hop into it. So right now we'd like to welcome to the show from Twist, Mike Reeves. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
Doing well, fellas. Glad to be on with you.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you. So this all started. We started talking to Benzie about his power rankings, and we kind of went at him last week here on the show, and he hit me up and said that he loved every minute of it. He thought it was funny. Thought we made some good points. But then I asked if there was anybody with any better power rankings, so he sent me your way.
Well, he's got to get up early, man. He's a union bread truck driver, so I'm not the RTF, Sports Network power rankings guy for the NFL, but us Twist fellas, we help each other out when we can. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm just glad there was no way I was going to let Greg do it because there's no way I'm having a Green Bay fan on this show.
Absolutely not. That's a very good choice. He's probably at home watching. He'll be commenting and talking crap.
Hey, I'm all about it. So, all right. So we did have some exciting news. I see you wearing a Viking shirt there. So your Vikings, you woke up this morning and your Vikings went out and got Yannick Ngakoue from Jacksonville. I bet you were pumped about that, huh?
Yeah, it's not every day you wake up and you get a guy that has 37 and a half sacks and 14 forced fumbles in 4 years to add to other side of a defensive line that has Danielle Hunter. So
yeah.
Kind of hurt a little bit to lose Everson Griffin, who went to the Cowboys, a guy that you draft, and I think he was a 5th-round pick or something and kind of mold into an all-star. But It definitely solidified our defense, which has question marks all over it, especially in the secondary. But he's a great player and took less money to come play with us than, putrid Jacksonville Jaguars. So we're excited here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No rioting, though.
If you're going to pick up Everson, if you're going to lose Everson Griffin, Ngakoue is a pretty good replacement, I guess, right?
No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wayne, I don't know if you heard of this one, but Ryan Fitzpatrick yesterday tried going out for practice, and his mother had died that morning, yesterday morning, and he still tried going out there and doing his thing at practice with the Dolphins, and had an emotional moment there with his coach, and they eventually ended up taking him off the field and not having him practice, having him go home and be with his family, which, I mean, it's the right call. I see what he's doing there, man. It shows great leadership, and it shows the intestinal fortitude that he has, and it shows that he's really out there to make sure that he's the starting quarterback this year. You got any thoughts on that, Wayne?
Well, I don't think that he was doing anything to send a message, and I don't think it's because he's so committed to the team and what they're trying to do. I just know that, obviously I lost my mom several years ago, and I do know that the difficulty that you're dealing with, sometimes that football field is just a way to not think about it. I mean, I've gone through times in my life where things are tough, and I want to go play golf because it gets my mind off of things. Right, I mean, you have to deal with it again when you're off the course, but golf was always my escape. While I'm out there, I'm focused on what I'm doing, and I'm not even thinking about whatever it is that I went there to escape, and I'm thinking that he went to the football field not to try to show he's a leader, or not to try to help the team or believe in the cause. I think he was like, maybe this will help me get my mind off of it. And it sounds like maybe after this meeting with his coach, he couldn't get his mind off of it. And like, dude, you really should go home. I mean, obviously this isn't helping you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've all got our escapes. You talk about the golf course. Mine's the baseball diamond. I mean, anytime I can get out to a diamond, whether it's even if it's an empty diamond, I'm just sitting there. It's definitely my way to take my mind off of stuff. But, you definitely feel for a guy like that. And when you see him still going out there, still trying to practice and still trying to do the things that he's paid to do, it's a reminder that sometimes life is bigger than the sport. And, thoughts and prayers out to his family and out to him too. And hopefully he can, work his way through all this. But let's get to the reason why we have Mike here. Let's get to some power rankings. Now, Mike, before the show, we were talking, and you said that you had not yet heard Benzie's power rankings. So let me run through those for you real quick.
Run them. I did watch when he was on with Buck, but my short-term memory is just
we were yelling at him the other day. So he has the Packers at 10. Everybody's on that Aaron Rodgers. They like to jump on top of him and ride that pony, but I don't know. He has the Packers at 10, the Cowboys at 9, two teams that I just think are ranked really high. Then a team I think he has ranked really low. He has the Seahawks at 8. Seahawks are a team that Soup Boss and I both have winning, top 2 in the NFC. So to see them down there at 8, I was really taken back, mostly because of who he had at 5. But at 7, he had the Steelers. I had them in the same spot. 6, he had the Buccaneers. Didn't have a problem with them there either, even though I thought they should have been a little higher. At 5, he has the Indianapolis Colts. Now, that's a team I know people, they see Rivers is there and all of that stuff. But, man, look, Phillip Rivers has played on some really good teams, and he's had a whole lot of talent around him in San Diego and hasn't done anything with it. And last year, watching him throw a football was absolutely painful. And so I just don't understand having the Colts there at 5. You have the Ravens at 4, not a bad spot for them, even though, I thought they should have been higher. Then the 49ers ahead of the Ravens, another one that I get that they're the defending NFC champ, but I think that the Niners are going to have a down year, especially in that division. That division is going to play really tough. So I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. I definitely don't think they're going back to the Super Bowl. Then 2 and 1, I had no problems with. He had the Saints and the Chiefs. I had them a little bit differently, but he had the Saints and Chiefs at 2 and 1. So, what are your thoughts on your buddy Benzie's power rankings there?
Well, I can't believe he has Green Bay in the top 10. I mean, their draft alone, bumps them right out of the 10. When I get in mind,
he's a Minnesota guy, isn't he?
Of course he is. Yeah.
So I don't know.
He tries to pretend like it's not I'm not a homer. I'm putting the Packers in the top 10, and then he does it. But I just don't think they belong there quite yet. No. I think that was more a facade going 13-3 last year. That I don't think that's the norm for a team like that. They're not going to be as offensively gifted with trying to move to a power run deal and only one real receiver on the team. So you can never really bet on Aaron Rodgers being out. But I'm going to have to see a little more before they crack my top 10.
Yeah, for sure. What about the Colts at 5? How do you feel about them?
Well, the Colts are in my top 10. So I think
really?
I think he stole that, and I'll get into that. That's they're one of my more exciting teams in the NFL. And it's not, you mentioned Phillip Rivers, and it's not because of him. It's not. He's a nice addition.
I think Phillip Rivers is the reason why I can't have them in my top 10 and why I don't have them winning more than 5 or 6 games this year. I think he's
you're outside your mind.
I think he's done. I just do. I thought he was done last year. Look, I watched that guy, have, guys downfield open late in games and either underthrow or it looked like he was watching Mitch Trubisky highlights because he was out there, man, and he couldn't hit a wide open wide receiver. It was really sad at the end of the year, and he looked lost. Like if you looked in his eyes as he was walking into the huddle, he looked like he looked like a guy who was just done, or maybe he just wanted out of San Diego, and maybe Indy will revive him. But man, from what I saw from him last year, that's why I have them so low this year.
Well, it's funny that you sound like Max Kellerman. You're like, I thought he was done last year, and he threw for 4,000 yards, but this is the year he's falling off the cliff.
You know what, Wayne G? Thanks for coming on the show. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne.
Max Kellerman, huh? All right. Shots fired.
This is the year he's falling off the cliff.
All right. So, Mike, let's get to your power rankings here. Let's hear yours. Let's go 10-5 real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to start at 10, and it's the Steelers. I know you liked them a little lower here. For me, Big Ben and that elbow, kind of like the Packers, I'm going to need to see a little bit more before they get down there. They do have, probably the best defense in the NFL, which is why a horrible quarterbacking crew, led them to, I believe, an 8-8 record last year. So bringing Big Ben back, three weapons at the receiver, they're going to slide in at my number 10. Number 9, I do have the Colts. And like I had mentioned before, Phillip Rivers is a nice addition, but with the power run game of Marlon Mack, drafting Jonathan Taylor in the second round, and then following that up with Michael Pittman, he can overthrow as much as he wants, but Michael Pittman's just going to run up there and get it. He's one of my favorite receivers out of this rookie class. He reminds me of a Mike Evans, and I think he's a great addition to that team. Phillip Rivers has never had an offensive line in his career that looks anything like what is in Indianapolis. So he's going to have more time. He's going to stay fresh. Like Wayne said, he's not a slouch. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards. He's not Teddy Bridgewater. But T.Y. Hilton is obviously still there. Paris Campbell, last year's second-round pick, is doing big things in training camp, and they're expecting a lot out of him. So having three fairly young, T.Y.'s getting a little longer in the tooth, but three receivers, a decent tight end, two running backs, and then an elite defense. They traded that first-round pick, which is why they had two in the second, none in the first. Brought DeForest Buckner over. And Darius Leonard, one of the best outside linebackers in the game. Solid defense, great offensive line. I think they're going to manage games very well, and that's why they are my number 9. My number 8, kind of a surprise, is the Buffalo Bills. And again, this is more for their defense and what they've done the past couple of years with some of the big-name acquisitions. I love the Ed Oliver pick last year in the draft, kind of solidifying that defensive tackle slot. And then picking up A.J. Espinosa, I believe you pronounce it, out of Iowa. He's a 6'6" defensive end. They already have one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Tre'Davious White. Josh Allen, accuracy issues, but he's a top 10 quarterback. He's mobile. He's got a big cannon. They brought in Stephon Diggs from Minnesota, so we'll see how that matches up. Still have John Brown, who's a speedy wide receiver. And then they have a 1-2 punch. They spent a third-round pick on Devin Singletary last year, and a third-round pick on Zach Moss this year.
Yeah, and I know you just said it was kind of a surprise there at 8, but I'll tell you right now, we did ours last week, and I had them also at 8, and Supos had them at 7. So
good.
We're really high on the Bills.
And with the Patriots out, I think that division is a lock for them to win it. So to me, a division winner, I'm bringing you right into the top 10. So I know you don't like the Cowboys. I do have them at 7, or at least I got that impression that you didn't like them. I love their first 2 picks and Stefan's brother, Trayvon Diggs, and CeeDee Lamb, one of the most electric, players in college football last year for Oklahoma. I absolutely love him. And with Amari Cooper kind of getting hurt here and there, I think he's going to have a huge role. Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, he's going to go for that big contract again next year. You can't count out their defense, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and, on those linebacking crews. So I do like them in the top 10. Their offense is so explosive. I think they're going to win a bunch of games. So then my number 6 is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, I just love that move there. I think that's kind of when Brett Favre moved to the Vikings. It's going to rejuvenate his career, if that's even the right word for Tom Brady, since he's the GOAT. But he's never been on a team with offensive weapons that they have. He gets Gronk back, and from every indication, he looks like Gronk from 4 years ago. I think Gronk's coming back with something to prove. And that offense is, going to outweigh the difficulties on defense, which has, gotten better over the past couple of years. So I'm excited about them. They added a couple gophers. And Antoine Winfield's son, and Tyler Johnson in receiving, which he probably won't see much action this year. But Antoine Winfield Jr. Is a beast. He's going to be awesome in that safety slot for them. So I was excited for that. And my number 5 is the 49ers. I think they're going to take a little step back. George Kittle's the best in the game. But other than that, Debo, they're saying, is running at full speed. but those are it.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. I think it worked last year with, running a 3-headed monster at running back. I don't like any of them. Yeah. I really don't. I don't think that's going to work anymore. Their defense is elite. They're still in my top 5, but they're not cracking the top 3. They made it based on defense, and for the old saying, I'm sure Wayne likes it, defense wins championships. That was not the case last year. So that is my 10 through 5.
Yeah, no, there's really not, again, I'm not high on the Colts. Your bottom half there, I don't really have many issues. I have the Bills in there. I don't have the Cowboys in my top 10. And I also don't have the 49ers in my top 10. Just because I think that the Niners are going to take a step back. I don't think they're winning that division. I don't even think they're going to finish second in that division this year. So I have them out of it. And I had so people were laughing, or people were coming at me because I did put the Houston Texans in at 9. I think even though they lost DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like there's always that team that when they lose a star, and I know it's a different sport, but you look at the Washington Nationals who get rid of Bryce Harper and then they go out and they win the World Series. And I think that the Houston Texans, because they don't have to force the ball anymore to DeAndre Hopkins to keep him happy, may actually open that offense up a little bit. And then a lot of people forget that they did go ahead and they did add Brandon Cooks, who's still a really good, really fast slot receiver. They went and got Randall Cobb. So, I mean, the Houston Texans, the wild card is the coach, obviously. I mean, they've got the worst coach in the NFL. So
Horrible.
That's the wild card there. But I just think talent-wise, I think they're still going to be very good. So I had them in at number 9. Like I said, I have Buffalo in there. I had Pittsburgh a little higher than what you had them. I have your Minnesota Vikings in my top 10. So I had them at I actually had them at 7. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, look, I'm high on the Vikings this year. I have them, winning the division over the Bears, even though I do have the Bears with a better record than most people have them this year. I think that, the offensive line being healthy is going to be key for them. But I didn't put them in my top 10. So look, and that was a tough pill to swallow to put the Minnesota Vikings in there, but I did it.
And I wanted to, I'm high on him this year. I think when you lose a player like Stephon Diggs, it's hard to fill that role immediately. Justin Jefferson isn't the same type of player, but to be able to not reach in the first round and have a player of his caliber fall to you and be able to grab him, I mean, I think he's going to immediately come in and fill that second position. The biggest, I just need to see more out of our young secondary. I have faith in Mike Zimmer, one of the best defensive coaches in the league, maybe in league history. But with COVID and with the short, no preseason, it's going to be different. So I think, maybe week 2, week 3 that they'll be able to slide in. But this is my preseason top 10. And with too many variables, even though it's my team, I had to leave them out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Wayne, do you have any problems with the bottom half there?
I'm surprised you guys both have the Steelers as high. I don't love that team. I don't trust the quarterback position. I don't trust Big Ben coming back. I don't know how good he's going to be. I think that's still an 8-8 team. I know that they have a good defense, but I just, I think in that division particularly, I think they're in the same division as who is it? Cleveland, right? Well, Cleveland's supposed to be making a big jump this year.
Yeah, but
they say that every year, but and then and then you got I think it was Cincinnati's in that division, right? And then is it Baltimore is the other team?
Yeah.
So you're in the same division as Baltimore and potentially a really good Cleveland team, again, who's getting a Kareem Hunt back after a full offseason and a full, preseason that you're going to have him for. Plus, you still got Nick Chubb. Amazing. You added Austin Hooper, who's good. You still have Njoku, who I don't think they moved on from him, right? So they still have a pretty good receiving core. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. If Baker Mayfield is what he looked like for part of his rookie year, I think that the Steelers are going to be third in that division. I think 8-8 would actually be a huge win for them.
I think having a quarterback who's not going to have his head caved in by a helmet this year is a huge step for Pittsburgh, because ain't nobody coming after Big Ben with a helmet, because he would probably eat them. But yeah, no, look, I think that Big Ben coming back is a huge step for what they had last year. I think that they are a lot better than people are giving them credit for, and I think they're hungry. So, and I think Big Ben wants to go out on top, and I think he's hungry. And if he stays healthy, and I know that's a big if this late in his career, but if he stays healthy, he brings that team back to where they should be. I don't think I think Cleveland's going to 9-7, 8-8 again. They're good, but look, until they prove to me that they're not the Cleveland Browns anymore. I mean, maybe they need to do what the Redskins do. I call the Redskins I call Washington the Washington not Redskins anymore because they don't have a name. But maybe they need to be the Cleveland not Browns anymore. Change their name, change their identity, do something, because they just always find a way to be that team that has high hopes and then just doesn't perform. I don't like his quarterback's name's escaping me now.
Which team?
The Browns.
Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm not a big believer in Mayfield. I do like Baker Mayfield. I would love to see him do well. I think they'd be an exciting team to see in the playoffs. And it'd be a great story. It'd be something to talk about for sure. But I just don't see them being that good. And I think the Steelers will definitely come in that division. So
and I get it, Wayne, and that's why I put him at 10. You know, they were kind of hard, but to me, Big Ben is that X factor. You know, his track record, if he's healthy, you know, but we could say that about everybody. Well, if Delvin Cook stays healthy, we're going to be, you know, an amazing team. But their defense being, you know, as stout as it is, and I think the two quarterbacks who played for the Steelers last year aren't even in the NFL. You know, if there was another league, they probably wouldn't make it to that either. So a team that can literally break 500 with quarterbacks, you know, that are probably out of the top 100 out of 32 teams, Big Ben catapults them in. I love the Browns, but it's the same old story as last year. You know, I have to see something. And Stefanski came from Minnesota. I think he is going to turn that around, and him and Baker have been working hard. I love Baker. The trouble for Baker is they drafted Johnny Manziel right before him. So he gets, you know, it's just another white, you know, flashy quarterback that's coming in, but you know, Baker's
not only Manziel, but every quarterback they've drafted since like 1984. I just like you know what I mean. So it's one of the. It's kind of like the Bears, and it's painful to say as a Bears fan, but the Bears have never had a good quarterback. We've always had guys who we drafted high and thought were going to do well, and this trash can Trubisky that we have now, like we just never have had a good quarterback. I'm not a big believer in a guy like Trubisky, and the Cleveland Browns have gone that same route. I mean, they've never really had, you know, they've always taken that flashy quarterback out of college, that flashy white quarterback like a Johnny Manziel, and a Baker Mayfield kind of is cut from that same cloth as far as personality wise. He's a lot more talented than Manziel is, but I don't know. I just, until they prove it to me, I have a hard time seeing them be in the top two in that division. But anyway, let's move on. What do you got for your top four there, Mike Reeves?
So number 4 is the New Orleans Saints. The Vikings sure have their number over the past few years, but Drew Brees probably is going to be his last year. I really like the Emmanuel Sanders pickup that they did. Apply some pressure off, can't guard Mike Thomas. But they're lights out. They're one of the most explosive offenses in the league. They do have a very underrated defense. And I think they're going to lose the division to my number 3, which is the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to be possibly in the Super Bowl coming out of the NFC. They're just one of my teams that I'm extremely high on this year. I think this is the year, and I don't know why I haven't heard or read anything. I think Pete Carroll's going to undo the reins on Russell Wilson a little bit more and get that passing game to go. Rashad Penny hasn't proven that he can do anything to where he got drafted, and Chris Carson fumbles all the time. I mean, he's a good, pound for pound running back, but I think they're going to let Russell go a little bit more and pass, and I think he's, going to be an MVP candidate like most years. But I have them at my number 3, and I think my number 1 and 2 are fairly obvious. The Ravens coming in at number 2 and the Chiefs at number 1. I just can't, in a preseason ranking, I can't put the Chiefs. I mean, they won the Super Bowl. They have Pat Mahomes. They re-signed all of their star players. And the biggest thing is they got better at the running back position.
Oh, man.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is, one of the most, sought out, most valuable positions in the NFL. And they upgraded there, and they're the Super Bowl contenders. So I do love the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is unbelievable to watch. If you can get him in your fantasy, don't reach. The past 3 years in fantasy, people won because they got Mahomes and Jackson in like the 10th round. So, but that's my top 4.
Yeah, no, look, I don't have any problems there. The Saints, you want to hear my hot take on the Saints?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm big on Jameis Winston. I've been on record as saying I think Jameis Winston is a top 10 quarterback in the league, even though he's a backup. I get the 30 interceptions last year, but he still was the only quarterback in the NFL that threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. So I understand everybody's hesitation with the interceptions, but it was one of those years where, Brett Favre once had a season where he threw 29 interceptions. So great quarterbacks can have bad years. And that really wasn't interception wise. It was a bad year, but the rest of it, he was fine. They had a really good offense last year. And I think that Breeze is getting older. I think he's going to take a hit. I think he's going to end up getting hurt. And I think Jameis Winston is going to come in and lead the Saints to win that division. So I'm really high on Jameis Winston. I'm really high on the Buccaneers too. I know you had the Buccaneers at 6. I had the Buccaneers up in my top 3. They were 3rd for me. I think that when you have Tom Brady coming to play with the best wide receiving core that he has ever had, that's doing something. And not to mention, now he's going to have a run game. He's going to have the offensive line is really good there. They've got a really solid defense. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Tampa Bay. I think they're going to give New Orleans a run for their money in that division. I actually picked Tampa Bay to go ahead and win that division by a game. I have them at, I believe it was 13-3, and I have the Saints at 12-4. So I'm really high on Tampa Bay. I'm really high on the Saints as well. I'm really high on Jameis Winston though. So
Tampa Bay, to me, the reason that they're not in the top 5 and I put them at 6 is because they don't have a proven run game. I don't trust Ronald Jones. Do you? I mean, they drafted Keyshawn Vaughn, I think, in the 3rd or 4th round, brought in LaShawn McCoy, which I actually kind of like because he's a receiving back, and Brady likes those.
Yeah.
But unless they can get a run game going, that offense is going to be one-sided, and it isn't, through the air, and Brady has that quick release. But I need to see a running game before I can move them in the top 5.
I think the addition of LaShawn McCoy is what put them over the top for me. I think that him coming out of the backfield, and like you said, Brady loves the check down running back, and that's exactly what LaShawn McCoy is. And when you have to account for that as a defense, and then you have to account for those 2 stud wide receivers that they have in Godwin and Evans, you're opening a lot of stuff up. And when you open stuff up for a guy like Shady, man, he can do some things, and he's shown us in the past that he could do some things. So that's why I like him a lot. I think that they're going to have a good year. I can't wait for the season to start, though. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I think people are overestimating the Buccaneers, and I think the reason being is because Tom Brady didn't bring Josh McDaniels with him. McDaniels might be the best offensive mind in football, and you're looking at a guy who game planned around Brady's weaknesses, which is lack of arm strength. The guy can't throw the ball over 20 yards without airing it out like 20 feet of arc on it. He just has no arm strength. So McDaniels developed this game plan of tight ends and running backs. And so that's why James White had 98 receptions, whatever he had last year, because Brady can make that pass. He can't make the 27, 35-yard pass to Mike Evans and Godwin. So is Tom Brady going to try to implement some of his New England offense on Tampa Bay, or is Bruce Arians still going to try to run his offense? Because if you try to run a Jameis Winston offense with Tom Brady at quarterback, it's going to go really badly.
Did you hear Tom Brady in his press conference last week, what he said? Either one of you?
No.
So Tom Brady in his press conference last week, a lot of people were saying he was throwing shade at Belichick, but he said, man, it's really nice to finally have an offensive coach. So, look, I think he really likes Arians. I think he's going to adapt to that system. And, look, I know you said Josh McDaniels is and he is. Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator, and he's, going to be good for New England for a long time after he takes over for Belichick. But Bruce Arians is no slouch. Bruce Arians is a very good offensive coach, and he's a very good offensive mind in the NFL. And I think they're going to do some really special things. And I think that teams that are sleeping on them, they're going to be in trouble, man.
See, I do like Wayne's point, though. That's Josh McDaniels is intricate and precise in game plans specifically for his quarterback, where Bruce Arians is an air raid guy. They have Byron Leftwich, who they brought in as the offensive coordinator, who I think is one of the most up-and-coming – where is he? Arizona. No, he might.
He's
be
Arizona, I think.
Yeah, he's
Yeah. Okay, but Bruce Arians.
No, you know what? He is Tampa Bay. He is Tampa Bay because Tom Brady went to his house or somebody else's house by accident.
Oh, yeah,
thinking it was Byron Leftwich's house.
Okay.
But that's more. It's always been an air raid offense, and Brady just doesn't have that arm. So I do like Wayne's point. We'll see. I mean, he's just trying to get it to Belichick. He wants to show that he's the man and that he was responsible for those rings. And
why are people picking on Brady's arm so much? Do you guys remember what Brady did? And I get that it was 2007, so it was 13 years ago. But you remember what he did when he had Randy Moss?
That was a long time ago.
But now he's got
13 years of wear and tear on an arm.
That's
the
more
two
than
best
most
wide
quarterbacks.
receivers.
And I get it. And I think Godwin's going to have a much better season than Evans. Evans is that deep guy, and he's going to have to adjust. I just don't see that explosive. I think it's going to be more of a West Coast style offense.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. Mike, I know you've got a fantasy football draft to get to, so we're going to let you go ahead and get to that. We are going to take a quick break here, and we will be back. But before we do that, Mike, why don't you tell these guys where they can catch you?
Yeah, so we're on RTF Sports Network, Twist, the weekend sports talk. We're Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Central, and you can catch my spinoff show, Mike on the Mic, which I was live earlier today, airs Mondays at 1 p.m. Central as well. Appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Hey, not a problem, man. Hey, you guys are doing great things over there at Twist. I catch the show all the time. You guys have a great show. I like to yell at Green Bay Greg a lot while he's talking. But, I think it's just because he's from Green Bay, and then he was wearing a Brewers jersey the other day. Yeah. So he kind of lost me there. But, I'm a Cubs fan and a Bears fan, so him and I will never get along.
I would say, too, not to use the platform to throw any more shade at any other executives within RTF, but I do know that when I was having a conversation with a few people, I said, I love Mike on the Mic because I watched the show. I said, that's a really good show. I'm entertained. I said, he holds my attention as a solo host, which is tough to do because a lot of times solo hosts come off as like pompous and like they love hearing themselves talk. You don't come off that way. And so I really enjoyed listening to your show. And I'm going to say that our VP, who I'm not going to name, but our VP said, well, that's one person.
Yeah, no, I've gotten some backlash and I've had to change some stuff up. But I like it. It's tough when you go from, Twist where we just have a good vibe and we have fun and it's our own show and we all kind of want to do our own spinoffs where it's like, I don't have these other two punks with me. I get the mic to myself. And all three shows are completely different. We have our own spin on it and have fun. And I think ultimately it just helps us better on the mic and helps improve Twist. And we just have fun doing it. We love talking sports and love repping RTF. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on. We'll do this again for sure. Once the season starts, maybe we'll try to make this a weekly thing where we can yell at you about football.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good night.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, guys. So we're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we will get into some NBA talk. Since we do have our resident NBA guy filling in tonight, I figured it'd be fitting to get some talk in there. So hang with us. We will be right back.
Time to take a stand, boy. I've been overlooked. I don't think you understand, boy. Souls overboard. I done played in front of grand, boy. Kill this shit and still I end up leaving empty-handed, boy. Waiting patiently, now y'all gon' sit and wait your fucking turn. Rise up on these ashes like a fucking nerd. Yep, I earned it, shit, and you try taking it from me, and you gon' fucking learn the hard way to Charles. And who said he ain't the one to burn? I got one move left, I can undo. I can't undo it when it comes to I didn't choose it, but it's here, no fear.
All right, so we are back. Again, that was Meezus. Meezus, I don't know if you've heard Wayne, but Meezus is a YouTube rapper right here out of Chicago. This guy's got some great songs with some great messages. We played one last week that entered us into our show with all the political stuff and stuff that's going on in the world. And I reached out to him through Twitter and through Facebook. And he got back to me and said he'd be honored if we used his music in our show. So We strictly used Mises for now, and he's got some good stuff. So that was Mises with Rise Up.
Yeah, I think the last time I filled in actually was when we debuted his stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember now. Kind of, not really. All right, so let's get to some NBA stuff. So the NBA got back to basketball. They restarted the restart, and we've had some pretty good games. We've had some series end here. Yesterday we had the Lakers and Bucks both finished their series in 5. Any shocker there that they took them both down in 5?
I mean, that's what they were supposed to do. The big shocker was them losing that game 1.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Both teams, actually.
Yeah, and you know what though, the way that Portland was playing, it didn't surprise me that they went out and took game 1. But what did shock me was when Milwaukee lost game 1. I mean, Portland was a really good team and they were on fire, but Milwaukee, I mean, they were supposed to tear up, and they just, I mean, they came out in game 1 and looked silly, and then woke up and came back and took them out. So. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not shocked either one of them did it. I am shocked that the Blazers didn't pull off more than one victory, the way that they were playing. But I mean, it's LeBron, and you had Anthony Davis there, and Anthony Davis took over in games 2 and 3. I mean, he was really good in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player, and he's a guy that has been a phenomenal player for a really long time. And I know that Celtics fans really wanted him, and they really wanted to move some picks and whatnot to get him, back in the day. And I kept telling them, I'm like, listen, the guy's 25, 26 years old. He's not going to Boston, not unless you're trading half your roster, So I was like, he's a phenomenal player. He is a top 5 player in the NBA, potentially. I mean, top 10, no doubt, but top 5, probably, along with LeBron James, who's still a top 5 player at 37 years old, wherever he is. He still looks great. He goes out there and puts up a triple-double every night. It was funny because Luka Doncic went out and put up like 43, 19, and 17. Yeah. And I said, the only player who's ever done 20-20-20 is Wilt. He did a 20-20-20 game. And then it was right after Doncic did that, LeBron went out and had like 23, 21, and 18 or something.
Yeah. Luka played really well in that series. There are a lot of things that went down. I mean, it got heated again today. With them and coming at, I mean, they really came at Luka and tried to punt, and he stood his ground. And man, when he hit that game winner to tie the series at 2-2, I thought that Dallas was going to come back and take that series from him. But the Clippers held on and ultimately took the Mavs out in Game 6 today. But that was one that I thought that probably was going to be the Clippers' toughest test until they run into. Until they run into the Lakers. I don't think Houston will give them a hard time. That's who they play in the next round, correct? Houston?
I believe so. Because Houston and the Thunder, and then you got the Nuggets and the Jazz are playing out still.
Yeah, so I really thought that the Clippers' toughest test was going to be Dallas. I think that they'll beat Houston. Houston's a good team, but look, the Clippers. I mean, I really like the Clippers. I like Kawhi. I like the guys that are over there. Not Kawhi. I'm sorry. Who's the guy I'm thinking of?
On the Clippers?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kawhi, Paul George.
Oh yeah, Kawhi. All right. So yeah. So but yeah, they've got a really good squad over there, and I thought that Dallas could take them out. But I don't think that Houston. I think that they're better suited to go up against the Houston than they were against Dallas.
I think.
Am I wrong there?
Houston poses some problems. I mean, the Russell Westbrook / James Harden team is very, very difficult because Westbrook has a nonstop motor. I know he hasn't been playing. I think he's been hurt, so I don't know if he's going to play in this series. That would be a game changer because Harden can't do it by himself, even though Luka did pretty well by himself. Right. But I think that combination of players, I think, could pose a problem. Speed-wise, both those guys get triple-doubles every game, so they're on the glass. They both find open teammates, if it's not each other. James Harden is the most unstoppable scorer in the league. So it doesn't matter. You can put Kawhi on him if you want. He's still going to get 35 every single night. You're not going to stop that. Yeah. So they do have some issues. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but I do think the Clippers are still the better team, and they were the better team than Dallas. So I never thought for a second. You referred to yourself essentially as a prisoner of the moment, but I'm never that. I knew that the Clippers were the better team, and Luka had a great game, and that game winner was fantastic. But it wasn't a momentum shifter because there was no home court in the bubble, so It was ultimately going to be the best team that wins, which is why Los Angeles Lakers are going to be the team in the finals, because they're probably the best team in the NBA in terms of depth and talent.
All right. So that brings me to this then, because the Celtics and Toronto played game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis today. And, I mean, the Celtics, they looked really good, and they handled Toronto rather easily. And the Raptors have 2 losses in the bubble, and both of them are to Boston. So, like, for me, I think that Boston is really, really the team to beat in the East, and I think that they could be the team that upsets the Lakers.
Well, they were number 1 on my power rankings a week ago, and I had predicted they would win 4-1 or 4-0 against the Sixers. They won 4-0. I then predicted they would win 4-2 against the Raptors. My co-host said I was crazy, and they came out. They looked pretty good game 1. But, I know basketball more than my co-host, so I'm just going to say that. And the Boston Celtics are the best coached team in the playoffs. Brad Stevens is the best coach in the playoffs. I've been hammering that, all playoffs long. He's not the best coach in the NBA. I still think Popovich is the best, but I think Brad Stevens is the best coach currently in the playoffs, and his team has bought in for the last 4 years to what he's doing, and it's just an ultimate team game. When you watch the Celtics, you're not going to see a superstar dominate. Like with the Lakers, you have LeBron and you have Anthony Davis. The Clippers have Kawhi and Paul George. The Celtics have Tatum, and he's fantastic, and they've got Jaylen Brown, who's great, but they're a team that plays ultimate team ball. And what scares me about them is that I have them number 1 on my power rankings again, but I do think the Lakers are a better team in terms of, like I said, talent and depth-wise, and they're not bad coach either with Frank Vogel. But the problem is I also saw that 2004 Lakers team with Gary Payton, Kobe, Shaq, and Karl Malone lose 4-1 in the finals to the Pistons, which was the ultimate team. They passed the ball around. Nobody was selfish. Yeah. Nobody averaged 20 points per game on that team. The Celtics kind of remind me of that a little bit, without the Ben Wallace type presence, but they remind me kind of that. And so if it were a Celtics-Lakers final, which I would love, I think the Lakers would win, but I'd be scared.
Right, yeah. But, that Celtics team is really, really good. I thought that losing Hayward was going to be a much bigger deal than it has been. I felt like they could still beat the Sixers, obviously. Being that when he went down, I think they went. That was game 2, right? When they went up 2-0, it was the game that he went down. And I still said that they could probably still win that series in 4 or 5. I thought Toronto would probably give them. I thought that this was going to be a 6 or 7 game series. But I still feel like Boston is still that team. And, once you add Hayward back to that team, I think they really give the Lakers fits. I think that they can handle Anthony Davis. Nobody can really handle LeBron, so you let LeBron do his thing and worry about the other 4 guys on the court and do your thing that way. But I don't know. I really feel like I think you're right. I mean, you should be scared when the Celtics, play the Lakers. And I think it'd be a great finals. I think it'd be really fun to watch. And for me, I mean, it's just a great story to talk about. I'm not a fan of either team, but an upset there would be really fun to talk about. I'm more of a fan of upsets as long as it's not my team that's getting upset. So I'll definitely be rooting for the underdogs in every series. I always do. I root for chaos. It's just what I do, especially in sports. So I don't know. Like I really like the Celtics. I like what they went out and did today against Toronto. And then what's the other game 6 we have tonight? Nuggets and Jazz, right?
Nuggets and the Jazz, and I don't like either one of them to do anything in the next round, no matter who wins that series. Yeah. I mean, they're fun. You get Jamal Murray can score 50 points any given night, which he's shown. You've got Donovan Mitchell who can go out and score 60. So I mean, these guys can put the ball in the basket. The Jazz have the better defensive team probably between the two of them. Denver has a nice young team and a versatile team, but the reality is that neither one of those teams can beat the Lakers or the Clippers. It's just whoever wins this game, it's basically just a consolation game to get into the next round and lose.
And I know who Donovan Mitchell is now because Supas yells at me every week that he lost the great debate because I didn't know who Donovan Mitchell was and blah, blah, blah. When in reality, he lost a great debate just because he, lost a great debate. So it had nothing to do with Donovan Mitchell, but I've been watching that kid's game, man, and he's really, really good. He is something special on the court. He's something that, Utah can really use to build around for sure.
Yeah, it's funny though to hear you say that because I kind of agree with Soup Boss a little bit in that I know you're not a big basketball guy, but it's kind of like me saying, hey, I kind of know who Alexander Ovechkin is now. I mean, he's pretty good. I watched him; he's good, man.
Look, Donovan Mitchell is not a household name. Like, so if you're not an NBA guy who watches all the time, or if you're like me and you only watch during the playoffs and the regular season doesn't really mean much or interest you much, Donovan Mitchell's not a name you're going to know. And so for me, I didn't know his name, and then I've watched him play this series, and the kid's impressive. He's really good. I don't know, what do you say, top 20 in the league right now? Or would you put him in the top 10?
I mean, I haven't really broken down. I don't know if I'd put him in the top 10. He's really, really, really good, but he is a scorer. He plays with a lot of tenacity, which I like. Like I said, I love Russell Westbrook because he has that motor. Donovan Mitchell has that motor, so I love those types of players. Allen Iverson, KG, guys who are just nonstop. So he has that. He has the offensive game. I'd like to see him refine his defensive game a little bit more. But, yeah, I think he's really good. I think he could be a top 10 player. I don't know if he is right now. I'd really have to look at a list, but he's in the argument, I think.
Yeah. Milton Mania chimes in. Milton says he's a stud for sure. Definitely top 20. Yeah, Milton, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for, commenting over here on Facebook, watching us on Facebook. We appreciate it. But yeah, no, I mean, look, I haven't I say it all the time. I'm not a basketball guy. I don't watch a whole lot of the NBA. I've actually started to get back into it since they've been in the bubble. The NBA has done a great job. An absolutely phenomenal job in the bubble. I love what they're doing with the fans there, with the virtual fans. I thought that was a great idea. I thought other sports should adopt that, even though, bigger stadiums, you'd probably have to, do a different way, maybe behind home plate for baseball or behind the benches for hockey or something. But yeah, I feel like what they're doing over there, they've got a great product. I'm starting to get back into the game of basketball again, mostly because of the show, and I don't always want to sound like I'm stumbling through a segment. But they've got some good things going on. I really love what the Lakers are doing with, Anthony Davis and LeBron. We got into this conversation last week, me and Soup Boss. Do you think that AD stays in LA, or do you think he goes to play somewhere where he's not with LeBron?
I don't think he cares about playing with LeBron. So I think that if you're worried he's going to have that whole Kyrie mentality where Kyrie's like, I want to be the star of the team. I don't think AD feels that way. I think that he wants to go where he can win. So I think that depending on what the Lakers do in the offseason, this is a team built to win a championship this year and then disassemble, kind of like the Marlins did way back when, twice actually. So that's what they're designed to do right now, is to win the championship and then reassess. So I think that if they win the championship, he gets his ring. LA says, thank you for getting us a ring. And then he's going to have the opportunity to look around. And if the Lakers can't put together another championship team in the offseason, I do think that the front runner would be the Chicago Bulls, because he is a Chicago guy. And I think that depending on what they do with their coaching search, it'd be a very interesting scenario, especially if you can get a healthy Zach LaVine with a healthy Anthony Davis and the rest of the young players there with Markkanen and Nunn and all those guys.
See, and that's what Soup Boss threw at me too. But what I threw at him was, because Soup Boss says if the Lakers do what they're supposed to do and they win the championship, that then definitely AD is gone, because he has his title, and then he's just going to go, and he's going to go where the money is and where he can shine the brightest. And he said Chicago would be a great spot for him. And I disagree. Like, nobody wants to play for the Bulls right now. This organization is in shambles. I mean, the front office is not very good. The way that it's been run over the last probably, I don't know, since I would say probably since Derrick Rose went down, finally for the final time, when Derrick Rose found out that he wasn't coming back and he couldn't stay healthy and all that. They just haven't gone out. It is almost like Derrick Rose threw this team into a tailspin. And they couldn't recover because they haven't drafted well. They can't keep players. They've hired the wrong coaches. It's a shame, because the Bulls that I remember obviously are the Bulls of the 90s, and then obviously with Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah and the boys, like, those are the Bulls teams that I remember. And right now they are they're tough to watch. It's a huge reason why I'm not into it is because my team is horrible. Like, I don't want to watch it. It reminds me of the Blackhawks in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were they were tough to watch. So I didn't watch. I vowed when the Blackhawks were that bad, I vowed not to watch them until their owner either died or sold them. And then finally he died. And 2 years later, we won a Stanley Cup. I don't think there was any. I think the Bulls are the same way. They need a new voice. They need a new front office. You need to get Gar and Pax out of there. They're not good. They're not good at all. I mean, I don't know if you pay attention to the Bulls front office or the activities are not, Wayne, but I know you're an NBA guy. I mean, am I wrong when I say that the Bulls front office really needs an overhaul?
Not necessarily. I think they've drafted well. I think that Markkanen is a good draft pick. I think Wendell Carter is a really good player. I think that they've traded well. I think that, getting Chris Dunn is a nice get. I think that Zach LaVine is a really good player. I think that the problem has been their coaches. They haven't really brought in a good coach to coach that team, and it's a good young team. I think that, again, it depends on what direction they want to go. We had this conversation, I think, either on my show or on this show, where we talk about what direction do the Bulls want to go in? Do they want to rebuild a championship team, which they can do in 1 year? They can go out and get a veteran coach, bring in an Anthony Davis, trade some of those young assets for another superstar, and then you can kind of start to build a championship team right away. Or do they want to build the way the Celtics did and take all those young players, in which case they have to go get a young college coach to come in and coach these young guys up? And they're in a good position, but I think it's all going to depend on who they bring in as the head coach and who they bring in as those other players. Anthony Davis won't go there just because he's from Chicago. They would have to completely trade all those young players for veteran players and build a championship team like the Lakers did.
Yeah, and if I recall, when Anthony Davis put out, or when it came out that he was getting traded, and he put his teams that he wouldn't go to, weren't the Bulls on that list of teams he didn't want to get traded to?
No, the Celtics were on that team. I don't are on that list. I don't know who else was on the list, but I could see the Bulls being on there if he's like, hey, I'm not going to a team to rebuild. I'm in New Orleans right now. We're already rebuilding. Like why am I going to go do that somewhere else? And I think that's his philosophy. And he's a free agent. I think he's going to, if he stays in LA, I think he gets like an additional $70 million to stay in LA. But again, when we're talking about 250 versus 180, it's still more money you can ever spend in your lifetime. So I think the ultimate decision will be, what kind of roster do I want to play on? If the Lakers rebuild for a championship, he goes there. If they don't, then he looks somewhere else.
Milton Mania says, as a Spurs fan, I'd more than welcome AD to San Antonio. Look, there's not a team in the league that would not welcome AD. There's just not. I mean, AD's a great
top
talent.
5 player.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I get it. San Antonio would be an interesting spot for him to go and play for Pop. I'm not sure how much more time Pop has, but look, could you see AD over in San Antonio?
I don't know what their cap situation is. I know that they've got DeMar DeRozan, they've got LaMarcus Aldridge, and obviously he'd be a humongous upgrade over LaMarcus Aldridge. But do you bring him in to go with those guys? Again, like I said, I don't know exactly what their cap situation is. And other than those two guys, I know, I think, is it DeJounte Murray is there? He's a really good young rookie that has shown well, but I don't know if he's looking to go to that team, because I think you add Anthony Davis to the Spurs right now as constructed with their head coach. They're a 6 seed in the West, a 5 seed, somewhere in that range. And wherever he signs is going to have to be a 1 or 2 contender.
Yeah. He also asked, you think he'll ask for a max contract? I don't think there's any way he doesn't get a max contract.
Yeah, he absolutely will.
Yeah.
The only way he doesn't get one is if he doesn't stay in LA. So if he stays in LA, obviously he gets the super max, but if he goes somewhere else, he just gets the 4-year max, which I think is like $4 and $100 for him or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, whatever it is, it's going to be $70 million less than what the Lakers can offer him. Mm-hmm. So if he's asking, would he rather take more money to stay with LA, or would he take less money to go somewhere else? Like I said, it's going to depend on the team's build. If the Lakers can build another championship team, he'll take more to stay there. But if they can't, he'll take less to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think he's definitely good. I mean, wherever he goes, he's definitely getting a max, or like you said, a super max if he stays in LA. But they hand out max contracts in the NBA like candy, though, don't they? I mean, you got some guys out there getting paid that I'm wondering why they're even on the court, especially in that New York Knicks franchise. They're having a tough go at it lately.
It's not a bad young team over in New York. I think people underestimate. They're 1 or 2 young players in 2 years away if they do it right. I mean, I think R.J. Barrett is phenomenal. He's a really good player. Kevin Knox is a really good player. He's kind of like a not Donovan Mitchell. Who's the one from Phoenix? Jesus, the one that scores all the points, doesn't play any defense.
I can't help you with that.
Yeah, the kid from Kentucky. I should know it. I'm just spacing on it. But anyways, he's like a light version of that. I mean, Kevin Knox and RJ Barrett are really good players. That's a good, decent young team that, again, needs a young coach to come in there. And they have, I think, the 8th pick in the draft this year. So bring in another player and a young coach and just build that team. But be patient with them. I know it's New York City and it's the Knicks. And I know Knicks fans have said, hey, man, we've been patient for the past 20 years. But if you do it right, they're still 2 years away.
Yeah. Jared chimes in. Jared's one of our guys. He's on here every week with us, every show with us. He says Portland trades CJ and AD joins Blazers and Dame Lillard and AD on the same. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know because again, I mean CJ McCollum's easy to trade because he's a phenomenal player. So who wouldn't want him? Right. So I can definitely see that. But I like that pairing of Dame and CJ. I know that Anthony Davis is a fantastic player, and adding him with Dame Lillard would make that team significantly better. I mean, I guess it's possible. It's a smaller market. I mean, we're talking Chicago, Miami, Boston, New York, LA, and now we're bringing in Portland. I don't know if he goes to that small of a market team despite their makeup because small market teams generally don't compete for championships.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, look, talking NBA with you is always fun. It actually gets me excited to start watching the NBA again because you really are. You know your stuff. You follow the game. You love the game. And I could tell that you talk basketball the way that I talk baseball. So I could definitely tell that you love it. And so I appreciate you coming on the show and talking, getting able to get some good NBA insight other than, somebody sitting to my right who is always complaining and whining about losing the great debate and saying Donovan Mitchell over and over and over again.
Well, I'm glad I get to talk a little bit because I think when we get to the hockey segment, I'm going to be pretty quiet.
Yeah, that one's going to sound more like a solo show, but that's all right. So I don't know if you've heard, Wayne, but we've been promoting our YouTube page. We want to get more subscribers onto our YouTube page. So we want guys like Milton here, who is joining the show and commenting for the first time. We want you guys to go on to our YouTube page and subscribe. We need to get to 100 subscribers so that we can change the URL over to a 3-Shot Sports URL, and that way you can find us right on YouTube without having to search anything else. So we've been talking about a giveaway, and at first we said, we get to 100 subscribers. I said I'm going to give away 5 pieces of my signed collection. And Soup Boss didn't know this yet, so you're learning this as well now, Wayne. I've expanded that, but there's going to be a stipulation. I'm going to expand that to 10 items. I've got 10 items that I'm willing to part with, willing to give away. All we need to do is get to 100 subscribers. Like we get 200 views on most of our shows. We get 200, likes and over 225 followers on our Facebook page. All we need is less than half of that to go ahead and subscribe to YouTube page. Share with your friends, share with everybody that you know, and subscribe. Help us out here. Milton says, I'll definitely subscribe. Anybody in the first 100 that subscribes, and that's anybody. I don't care. Wayne, you can go on and subscribe to the show right now if you haven't already. Subscribe to the show, and you're entered to win too. So let me show you guys some of the stuff that I am willing to part with. So the first thing here, I have a Cleveland Browns autographed Nick Chubb mini helmet. That's one item that's going. You've got 2 items that are sitting behind me here that you can see when I go to full screen. I've got a Calvin Ridley Alabama jersey. You don't see many of those out there. Autograph right there on the bottom of the number 3. I've got a Michael Vick Falcons jersey. Now, you guys remember Michael Vick when he was on the Falcons. That's when he was the human joystick. That was before all the stuff that sent him away to prison. I get it. Some people are going to yell at me for having some Vick stuff on there. But, look, the guy was incredible to watch when he was with the Falcons. And when he was in his prime, he was the guy. What else I got here? I have got and this one, look, guys, I'm trying to get rid of this one just because I think having it in my collection as a Cubs fan is just really, really bad. But I've got a Lou Brock autographed jersey here. So this is a Lou Brock autographed jersey, another rare item you don't see much of. And so I've got that. That's going in the collection. I have got a Joe Mauer 2014 autographed baseball that is going in the collection. And I also have the 2014 Joe Mauer autographed jersey to go with it. And what else do I have here? I have a look, guys. I'm going crazy here, so don't miss out on this stuff. Let's get to 100 subscribers. Let's get 10 winners. I've got a Saquon Barkley. Now this one is different because this one is a certified rookie autograph. So the certification that comes with it certifies that this was signed his rookie season. So this goes down as a rookie jersey. So that's always sells for a lot higher. Or you can keep it, frame it. If you're a Giants fan, keep it, frame it, do the things that you want to do to add to your man town or your collection. What else do we have here? We got a couple other things. I've got a Juan Soto autographed baseball bat. I've got a Philip Lindsay autographed full-size Broncos helmet. We've got the Fernando Tatis Jr. Jersey. We've got, let's see, what else did I have that I was giving away? So, yeah, I think that's all 10 items, actually, now that I'm looking through it all. But that's all 10 items. Now, look, this is a – my girlfriend just chimed in. Don't get rid of any of my Urlacher stuff. I'm not giving away any Urlacher stuff, no Bears stuff, no Chicago items are in there because, I mean, most of you guys out there watching probably aren't Chicago fans, or maybe you are, but it's still my team, so I'm not giving it away. It's going in a personal collection. But all you have to do is subscribe. Let's get to 100 subscribers. Now, the caveat to me giving all this away, every show we push this. We try to get to 100 subscribers. We went from 4 to 17 that first night that we announced this, and now last I checked, we were only up to 26. So let's get to 100. But every show, so if we don't get to 100 before Tuesday, I'm taking away one item, and then I'm only giving away 9. If we don't get to, if we don't get to 100 by Thursday, I'm taking away another item. We only have 8. So we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Let's get to 100 subscribers fast. We will throw everybody who subscribes' name. We'll go into a randomizer. Now, this randomizer will be online. I'll have a video of it and everything so you can see it's 100% legit. I'm not, playing favorites, but because I will have family members that are in there that have already subscribed, so they may win. Some of the stuff like the Fernando Tatis jersey, that thing right now I seen on eBay is going for over $1,200. So I've got some high priced items in there that I wouldn't mind taking off the list, but don't make me do that. Make me give away my high priced items, my high ticket items, and we will definitely, we'd be more than happy to give it away just to get the subscribers in there because that's what we want. We want people to get their eyes on the show, their ears on the show, everything that we can do. Share with your friends. Let everybody know about the show. Let them know what you think of the show. And definitely message us. Interact with us on the show, Facebook, YouTube. If you comment on YouTube, it will come through here just like it does for Facebook. So if you go ahead and you comment on Facebook, Milton Mania, you got any St. Louis Blues stuff? See, now if he had messaged that on YouTube, it would have came through just the same way. Would just have a YouTube symbol there instead of the blue F. But no, I do not have any St. Louis Blues stuff, Milton. The only St. Louis stuff I ever allowed in the house was that Lou Brock jersey, and it's only because Lou Brock was a Cub before he was a Cardinal. A lot of people forget that. But the Cubs actually traded him to St. Louis. I don't know why, but they did. And so I do not have any St. Louis Blues stuff, but the stuff that I showed you is the stuff that will definitely be given away. Michelle chimes in again that Cubs flag can go. She's a Sox fan. The Cubs flag staying. I don't care. But so, get some subscribers in there. Wayne G, you're eligible. Hey, let Sully know too. I know you got a third guy on the show. You could let him know too. They can go ahead and subscribe to the show. Probably won't, but
Hey, the more the merrier, especially because we get there quick enough, and then maybe I can get my hands on that Michael Vick jersey because that looks pretty sharp to me.
Yeah, you know what? I actually just got my hands on this the other day. I just got into a random drawing, and I drew the Falcons, and I tried. The funny story to that is I tried trading the Falcons for the Bears because I always try getting my personal collection filled up, and nobody would budge. And then another guy had the Bills the Panthers. And my son he loves Cam Newton and he loves CMC, even though Cam Newton's no longer there. So I tried to get my hands on the Panthers, and he didn't want to budge on that either. So I ended up stuck with the Falcons, and he pulled the Vic jersey out of the box. So I won out. He really wanted to trade after the drawing, but I wouldn't do it. So just some good stuff. This Calvin Ridley jersey too. I mean, it's an Alabama jersey, so having his college jersey autographed is something. I know there's a lot of Alabama fans out there. I don't know why there's a lot of Alabama fans out there, but I do know there are some. So, all this is stuff. Is YouTube preferred over Facebook for view? Look, I prefer whichever route is easiest for you to watch the show or access the show. But we need to enhance the show, and the way to enhance the show at first with YouTube is just to get to 100 subscribers, so we could change that URL. If you subscribe and then view through Facebook, we're fine with that. However you want to view the show is fine with us, Milton. But just the biggest thing right now is just getting likes and shares and getting our name out there and getting the show promoted. That's the biggest thing. And, we're trying to do good things here with the RTF network and even beyond. So we definitely could use the help. So thank you for subscribing, Milton, and you'll definitely be entered in that drawing. So,
no matter what platform you watch on, Brandon is wrong just as often.
It's true. It's very true. All right, so we're going to take another quick break, and then we will be back, and we will be talking some MLB. I released my power rankings again today, even though, after seeing the way games played out today, I might have changed it up even a little bit more, but we'll get to that. That's why they're weekly rankings, and we will get into that in just a moment. Hang with us. We will be right back.
You left me for dead, all 'cause you were scared you would lose a little bread. Guess what now you did? Told me go to hell. With the love lost between us, thought in nowhere. 'Cause I love who I am. 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 I love who I am, and I ain't changing it one day. This ain't about no ego. It's one here for me though. Times you gotta put your needs beneath of other people. But how come that's so hard for me? It's like I got no heart for me. Stuff the pain, suffocate. Damn, I swear I'm hardly breathing. Tired of being number two to everybody else that is taking a toll on my mental health. Why am I so loyal to these songs who left me on the shelf? Why do I care what these people think when they don't think of me? Tell them that I got no pot to piss and they just piss on me.
All right, so we are back, and we are going to get into some MLB talk now. Before we get into my power rankings, we had some movement over here. We have the MLB trade deadline is tomorrow. There were some really good moves, even though they're smaller name moves. They're not really big name moves. I think the biggest name that moved was Mitch Moreland over to the Padres. Well, that's a great addition for the Padres, Wayne. That adding that guy to an already really talented lineup and adding the veteran guy that Mitch Moreland is and bringing him into that clubhouse, I think it's going to make them even better. I think it's going to putting him as your DH or even if they're putting him at first base or whatever they plan on doing with him. I think that it is a great addition to that lineup. And a lineup that was already, I mean, they're calling them Slam Diego because they were hitting grand slams last week like it was candy. And so I don't know if you know much about the Padres, but adding Mitch Moreland and getting him from Boston was a great add.
In preparation, obviously, I thought his OPS is 1177 right now, so he's hitting the cover off the ball this year. And to think that you add him to any lineup in the big leagues, I do think that San Diego lineup, maybe with the Dodgers, are one of the top two offensive lineups in all of baseball. And so now you just added a guy with an 1177 OPS, 8 home runs, to a lineup that's knocking the cover off the ball. It just got that much better. I mean, who needs pitching? If you can hit 6 home runs a game, you don't need to have a good pitching.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, San Diego's got some really good pitching as well. They just play in a division that the best team in baseball plays in, which is the Dodgers. And it's funny, too, because before the season, not a lot of people really were high on the Padres. But if you listen to our podcast earlier in the year when we did our preseason predictions right before they started this shortened season, Supos and I both had the Padres winning the West. We were down on the Dodgers, and especially after they, David Price had announced he was not going to join them for the restart, and they right off the bat, Kershaw went down with a back injury, so we really thought that they were going to be down. And man, the Dodgers are light years above everybody else right now. The way that they're playing, will they cool off? Who knows? Are they that good? Who knows? But we're going to find out. But that Padres team is young and up and coming. And adding Moreland was a great addition for them. Another really good addition were my Cubs. Went out and beefed up with Jose Martinez. Now, the Cubs have been having a whole lot of problems with left-handed pitching this year. I believe that they were batting I think they're third worst team against lefties. I think it's like a 214 average against left-handed pitching. They've really struggled, but Jose Martinez just absolutely kills left-handed pitching. He's a guy that used to kill the Cubs. Kill John Lester every time because he was with the Cardinals before he went over to Tampa, and getting him from Tampa really bolsters that lineup. Him being able to, sub for Jay Hayward over in right field when lefties are up, and allowing Jason Hayward to take days off and only face righties and platooning them two, I think is huge. I think it's a big difference when you got Jason Hayward and Jose Martinez defensively, because Jose Martinez is not a very good defender in right field. But having him DH on days that Jason Hayward is in the lineup still, that's a big boost for another really good lineup over there in Chicago.
Well, the nicest thing about it is that unlike San Diego, which gave up 2 prospects to get Mitch Moreland, the Cubs gave up 2 players to be named later. So they don't really have to give up anything.
And it's or cash. They might even just give up cash instead. And so they didn't give up much to get him. It was a very good addition by them, a quiet addition too. Like I didn't even hear about it until I was looking up game notes or show notes and figuring out, things that, I want to sneak in there and talk about. And I was like, oh wow, that's a really good ad for the Cubs. I hadn't heard about it. They hadn't announced it on the game as of yet while I was watching, but really good ad for them. Another good ad was the Braves. So the Braves already have a really good, talented young team. They're going to win the National League East, and their pitching staff is really young and really good. And they went out and got Malone from the O's, and Malone's a very, very good pitcher out there in Baltimore, wasting away in Baltimore because they're just not a very good team. But that's a great addition for a really young, solid rotation.
Well, I was going to ask you if that was more of a situational thing. Like you said, Martinez on the season is hitting 239, but you said he kills lefties, and so it gives him that opportunity. So I'm wondering if Malone is some sort of a situational pitcher in a way, because his ERA is 4. He's 1-4. So you can say he played in the Orioles, but the Orioles, that doesn't have anything to do with how many earned runs you give up. So, I mean, he's not exactly having a great year. Right. And so I'm curious if maybe he just does really well against left-handed lineups or right-handed lineups or something.
No, it's not. I think it's a Braves staff that was looking for a number 5 starter, and they went out and got it. And a 4 ERA for your number 5 starter is basically average in baseball today. I mean, a 4 ERA, we're not seeing a whole lot of the old, Pedro Martinez ERAs anymore. We're just not seeing that. You got a couple of pitchers out there that are doing it, like the kid from New York, DeGrom. You got the Cubs have one. I mean, Yu Darvish has been absolutely phenomenal. A lot of people are saying he's a front runner for the Cy Young. So you got a couple of those guys who can keep their ERA low. But I mean, you got guys that are still really good. So John Lester, his ERA is over 4 right now. So you've got some good pitchers that's what the game is now. Everything is launch angle. Everything is home runs. You're going to give up runs. I'm watching right now in the background. I have the Braves and the Phillies playing right now. It's 10-8, and they're in the 4th inning. So it's just what baseball is now. Baseball is more about offense and less about pitching. So you're going to see ERAs in the 3 and 4 become the norms. Much like, and it's funny that you say that, because much like a lot of time now, the new 300 is like 260. So guys aren't hitting as much as they were, but when they do hit, they're leaving the yard. and that's the difference that you're having with a lot of pitchers' ERAs. And then being over there in Baltimore, I think that does add to your ERA. The fact that he's only got a 4 ERA in Baltimore is pretty good because the ball flies out of that ballpark. So it'd be interesting to see him over in New York, or I'm sorry, in Atlanta, and seeing how he does there as opposed to Baltimore. But I think it was a really great addition.
I was glad you mentioned DeGrom because, I mean, you talk about wasting away in a situation, and DeGrom, all he does every single year is have an ERA under 2, you know, at least. And I think last year he was like 11-13 with a 1.86 ERA or something.
The problem with the Mets is that they're young. They've got a really good, solid young pitching staff as well. They're just injured. Steven Matz is a very good pitcher. He's been pitching hurt all year. They just put him on the injured list. Then you have Thor out there. He is another phenomenal young pitcher. They haven't been able to put together. I thought I had them this year being the sneaky team in the National League. I thought that they put together a sneaky good roster, but they had some things go on early, and Cespedes came back, and then he left promptly and didn't even tell the team that he was leaving. So they've got some things going on there that are sad to see. I mean, I feel bad for New York fans, man. Other than the Yankees, they've got some the Rangers aren't very good. You got the Knicks that ownership is horrible. The Mets can never seem to get it together. So I got some friends over there that are in New York that are they're hurting right now for sports.
Yeah, the Jets and the Giants are crap. Right?
Yeah. I mean, the Jets are horrible. The Giants they can be one of those sneaky teams. I don't think they will be one of those sneaky teams, but they can be one of those sneaky teams. It just really depends on how good Daniel Jones really is. I don't think he's that good, but you never know. He could come out and surprise you.
The Jets have the better of those 2 quarterbacks. They're just a crappier situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to so we're going to get to the power rankings. I don't know if you have any idea who you would have in your top 10, Wayne, especially since you had to get ready for the show, last minute here. But I will go with my 10 through 6, and these will be they'll be released on the RTF network on Tuesday, I believe. Is that what we're doing, Wayne?
I think so, yeah. I do all the artwork, everybody, so if you like it, then you'll definitely give me a thumbs up.
Wayne's doing all the artwork. He's made us all look like fat guys in a little coat. But he's doing the power rankings. The graphics are done. They're done really well. I put mine out to him today, and they'll be released on the RTF network on Tuesday. But, you guys always get a sneak peek with me. So at number 10, and it pained me to have them this low, I had the Cubs at number 10. They've had a rough week. I had them at 6 last week. And then, they went out and they lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, who are a really, really good team. They're in first place now. They weren't in first place last week. They're in first place now, and that's a really good, talented Central Division over there in the American League. We'll get to that in a minute. But then they went out and lost 2 out of 3 to Detroit, and then they just split with Cincinnati. If they can't figure out something with this pitch, and I posted it last night on my Facebook that Kimbrel needs to be cut by the time he get back to his locker last night. Watching him pitch, man, it's awful. I can't watch this guy pitch anymore, and you definitely can't bring him in late inning situations, especially unless it's a mop-up role. You just can't. This guy cannot throw strikes. He can't get anybody out. He's not the same guy he was even when he was winning the World Series with the Red Sox in 2018. The guy is just not the same pitcher, and it's sad to see because he is probably one of the greatest closers to ever play the game. But it's been sad to watch his decline, and he's declined a lot, and teams just aren't afraid of him anymore. So unless they do something to shore up that back end of the bullpen, I think they're going to continue to struggle. And it's sad for me to say, especially as a Cubs fan. I know they had that 2016 season where they went through a stretch where they had lost like 9 out of 10 games until they went out and put won an extra inning game against Pittsburgh that year. And then that sparked them again right before the All-Star break. But I don't know. This team's got a different vibe. I'd love to be wrong about them. But we'll see.
I was glad to see them fall.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
In And you guys, you should have known about Kimbrel, because I'm telling you right now, as a Red Sox fan, just watching him his last season here, and just the inability to use him anywhere other than a clean ninth inning. Because you would ask him, hey, listen, man, can we bring you in with one out in the eighth? Because we want to win this game. And he'd be like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to give up a lot of runs because I'm not used to that. I'm like, you're a major league pitcher, right? He's like, no, I got to come in the ninth with nobody on base, or I can't pitch.
Yeah. He's come in clean ninth inning. He came in a clean ninth inning last night with a 1-run lead, and he walked 2 guys, threw 2 wild pitches, and then had another pass ball, which ultimately cost them the game. He's just not the same guy. He can't throw strikes. So I have them at 10. I have the Indians at 9. I just talked about the talented Central Division. The White Sox just overtook the Twins. The Twins had a rough weekend in Detroit, getting swept. So I have the Indians at 9. I still think, I said this last week, I still think they're the 3rd best team in that division. I think it's between the White Sox and Twins, who are going to battle it. They got a 3-game series starting tomorrow. I can't wait to watch it. I'm probably going to watch that over the Cubs games on Tuesday and Wednesday, just because it's going to be so much fun to watch those 2 teams play. And then at number 8, I have the Yankees. I had the Yankees at 2 last week, and they fell all the way to 8. They've looked awful. They did have a nice comeback win today in the game 1 of the doubleheader against the Mets. They were down 7-2 today, came back and won that game in extra innings. But their pitching staff looks tired, and I don't know why. I mean, Garrett Cole just does not look like the same Garrett Cole. To me, he looks like he's pitching injured. They've had some injuries in their lineup, and they just haven't been able to put it together yet. They kind of look like they've lost their identity. So I have the Yankees at 8. At 7, I have the Chicago White Sox. They were at 10 last week. They vaulted up to number 7. But this team just continues to win. I watched them today after the Cubs were over. I watched the end of their game, which they ended up winning in extra innings. But they're just that team, man. Their 3, 4, 5 hitters are just the best 3, 4, 5 hitters probably in baseball right now. They're playing hot. They're really good. They're young. They're talented. I picked them to win the division before the season started. Back in March, I picked them to win a 162-game season and win the division. I picked them to win the 60-game season and win the division. I think they are that good. I think they're that talented. I think they're going to show you that this week against the Twins, and they'll probably be higher next week. And at 6, I had the Atlanta Braves. Look, the Atlanta Braves are still good, but they have some problems in the back end of their rotation, which they tried to shore up with the addition of Malone. But they have problems stopping teams from scoring runs. And, Soup Boss gets at me all the time. I think it's mostly because he loves to stick with his picks. He picked the Braves to win the World Series, so he's really high on them, always has them in his top 4. But honestly speaking, they're just not a top 5 team in baseball right now. The 5 teams that I have ahead of them are heads and tails above them, and the Braves wouldn't even come close in a 7-game series against them. So I have the Braves at 6. You have any problem there with that bottom 10 or bottom 4?
No, I think it all makes sense. I do like that White Sox team. I think they're really good. I can't wait to get to the top part because I'm a huge Oakland A's fan, so I can't wait till we get up there. But as far as you said rooting for the underdogs. I mean, I root for the A's just because how can you not root for Billy Beane and the Oakland A's and that small market, lineup. But as far as, the Chicago White Sox being a large market team, but their payroll doesn't seem like it. I mean, they're more of a young team, a lot of young pieces they went out and got. I'd love to see the White Sox kind of make a push and get into the top 5 at some point. I do think they're better than the Twins. I know they're not right now, but I think that when all is said and done, they're going to be the better team.
The White Sox always seem like a small market team, even though they play in Chicago, because Chicago's a Cubs town. I mean, it just is. And I've got a lot of Sox fans who would disagree with me there, but it is. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. If you come from wherever, Wayne, if I said, hey, do you want to come catch a baseball game? Would you rather go to Wrigley or would you rather go watch a White Sox game? I mean, it's just there. Wrigley is where people go. Wrigley is the place to be. It's in a much better neighborhood than what they call it guaranteed rate now. I'll always call it Comiskey. but it's in a much better neighborhood, and there's a lot more to do in the neighborhood when you go to Wrigley. You got the clubs and the bars and the restaurants are all right there, and there's nothing really around guaranteed rates. So that's why, and they never draw well. They've never drawn well. We talked about this on Thursday, Supas and I, where they're a team where you can watch their games, and it's funny because I was thinking about it today while I was watching the game because they have all them cardboard cutouts, and when they panned out, you could see like the cardboard cutouts, but it was like the first 5 rows all the way throughout the stadium, the first 5 rows. And I was like, wow, it actually looks like it would have if they actually allowed fans in, because that's what the White Sox do. They don't draw well. They're one of those teams where you could see them on a Tuesday afternoon in the summertime, and they've only got 4,000, 5,000 people out there watching. So it's sad to see too, because they back in 2005 when they won the World Series, they had to actually give away tickets to the World Series to fill the stadium so that it didn't look empty on TV. And it's just, it's sad for I do have friends that are really good Sox fans, and they're baseball guys and they know the game and they love the White Sox. And so I'm not a hater of the White Sox, even though I'm a big diehard Cubs fan. I don't hate the White Sox. I hate the Cardinals and the Brewers. I don't root for the White Sox, but if they do well, I'm not mad. Like, I'm happy for my friends that are White Sox fans. But yeah, that's why they always seem like a small market team, is just because they just don't draw well. They don't make the money that a lot of these big market teams playing in big markets do. So moving on to the top 5 in my weekly power rankings, I have the San Diego Padres at number 5. Now, look, I would really like to have had them higher on this list, but the 4 teams that I have above them right now, I think are playing really good ball, with the exception of one of them who got swept this weekend. But I still feel like right now they have an easier schedule. I feel like right now they have a better team all around. And Supas would probably agree with me because this is the other team that he had in the World Series. But I had the Padres at 5. I love what they're doing out there. I love that young team. I love the pitching. And they're another team that plays in a big market out there in San Diego, California, that just seems like a small market team. And they've done some great things out there. Fernando Tatis Jr. is setting the world on fire. He almost looks like he could be, the new face of baseball over a Mike Trout, just because watching that guy play baseball is something special. And the things that they're doing in San Diego is really fun to watch. I have the Tampa Bay Rays at 4. The Tampa Bay Rays they've opened up a 4-game lead in the division over the Yankees. Might be smaller now. I haven't looked at the updated standings as of tonight after the Yankees. I think they swept that doubleheader. So it might be a little bit different now, but they had a 4-game lead in the division. They're doing really good things. They just keep winning. And the Tampa Bay Rays, and I know your boy Sully over there loves his Tampa teams, so he's going to be happy. He was mad at me last week when I had them, below the Yankees, even though the Yankees had a 2-game lead in the division at that point. But I have the Rays at 4. I have the Minnesota Twins at number 3. Now, look, they lost the lead in the division today. They got swept. They had a rough weekend in Detroit, but they're still the best team in that division with the White Sox. It's them and the White Sox 1 in 1A, and they are going to get back on track. It may not be this week having the White Sox come to town, but it's going to be a really fun series to watch. And so I had them at number 3. Number 2 is your boys over there, the Oakland A's. I have the Oakland A's at 2 and the Dodgers at 1. These are the 2 best teams in baseball right now. They don't want to lose. They seem to win night in and night out, and if they do lose, it's because of something that happens in the 6th or 7th inning that you didn't see coming, and they find a way to end up losing the game. But they don't lose much, and they don't lose often, and they are a very, very solid ball club over in Oakland. And the Dodgers are just the same way. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball right now. I don't know how they're doing it. That pitching staff was depleted by losing Price and then losing Kershaw, and they still found ways to battle through it. The offense has been really good. Mookie Betts, who I remember you saying, Wayne, you were not a big Mookie Betts guy, but Mookie is, there was a stat that we threw out last week where it may have changed by now, but at one point there was 117 pitches in the strike zone that he has swung at. 117 pitches. and only one of them did he not make contact with. Only one. He only swung and missed at one ball in the strike zone this year, and he's been phenomenal for them. He's been worth every penny that they've paid him so far. So I have the Dodgers at 1. What do you think about the top 5?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and I think the Dodgers and the A's 1 and 2 makes all the sense in the world. But talk about a tale of two cities. One team's got all the star power and all the payroll, and the other team is just homegrown minor leaguers or traded for minor leaguers that came up and seem to fit a system. And I would love to see that as the World Series. It'd be so phenomenal. I mean, it's a California World Series, but so every game would be late. But I think it'd be fantastic to see the A's and the Dodgers in the World Series. I do think, like you said, that Minnesota and Chicago, they got the series. I think that Chicago is going to win that series and will overtake them in the rankings next week. And Chicago is the team, I think, in the American League that could push for I think the A's are the best team in the AL, and they should finish the season as the best team in the AL. I think Chicago could push them for that spot, but I don't think the Rays are going to. I don't think the Yankees are going to. So I do think it's going to come down to the Oakland A's and the Chicago White Sox for the American League Championship Series.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the season, Soup Boss had picked a World Series that I would have been really excited to watch. Yeah, I had the Cubs and the Angels. The Angels made me look silly by picking them because they have not done anything this year. And I had the Cubs. And look, the Cubs could still be that team in the National League that comes out and surprises you just because they are that talented. They've got that same core that won the World Series just 4 years ago. They've got a really good pitching staff. Anytime you got John Lester pitching for you in the playoffs, it's a good thing. And not only that, but he's your number 3 or 4 starter going into any series. And when you've got John Lester as your number 4 starter going into any series, that's just another plus. So they could sneak in there. But he had the Twins and the Braves. And those are just 2 young, really scrappy, really talented teams that to me, would just be a really fun World Series to watch. But now thinking about it, man, the White Sox and the A's in the ALCS would be amazing. That would be such a good – that's a series that I could completely see going 7 innings, and it could be a 1-run game in every game of the series, and maybe even extra innings in every game of the series. That would be really fun to watch. The White Sox are really young. They're really talented. I really disappointed my girlfriend's nephew, Finney, last week, and he called me a traitor. He's 9 years old and he's a huge Cubs fan, and he was really disappointed when I said that the White Sox were better than the Cubs right now. But it's just true. The White Sox, they're really good. I know his brother Declan, who's and Evan, who are White Sox fans, and they come at me all the time with White Sox are better than Cubs and all this other stuff. But right now they're right. The White Sox are the best team in Chicago. They're playing the best baseball in Chicago right now. So yeah, I have no arguments there. Milton Magic is now on. He went over to YouTube for us and is now commenting. The Padres have Hosmer, right? Yes, the Padres do have Hosmer. And then, having Hosmer and then adding a Mitch Moreland. I mean, it's going to be a really good combo. If you have to give Hosmer a day off to be able to have Mitch Moreland substitute for him is a huge gain for them. So really excited to see that. So let's get into we were going to get into some hockey talk. I think we're going to scrap that. We've gone a little bit long with some of our other segments. I know that does not hurt your feelings at all, Wayne, and I don't blame you for that because I know you're not a hockey guy. So
the only thing I could do to even sound relatively intelligent, as much as I hate saying this, would just be to agree with you, whatever you say. I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. I would have no idea.
Hey, look, agreeing with me is never a bad thing. But saying that,
on that note, game on, he's wheeling, he's doing, he scores!
All right, and for those of you who are just joining us for our first time, maybe Milton, who hasn't heard the show before, this is our game, and this is our game that Wayne and I started, and he turned into way and kind of way. So this is our game, way or no way.
No way. Yes way.
And that movie has come out, and I'm sure that's probably why Supos really took the night off. I don't think he had a power outage. I think he went to go see Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So that would not surprise me. He has been geeked out about that movie since he heard it was coming out. So that's probably where he's at right now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm trying to get my daughter to watch the first one. She won't watch it because she doesn't like time travel movies.
Tell her it's just a little bit different. You know, it's one of those where you have to have a certain sense of humor. Like me, I like the stupid comedies. I like the so stupid it's funny comedies. Like we were talking last week, and you had like you remember. I know you remember Drop Dead Fred.
Oh, of course,
Drop Dead Fred was so stupid, but it was hilarious. You know, and then you had
incredibly hilarious.
Napoleon Dynamite for me was another one that I absolutely loved.
Napoleon Dynamite is one of two movies that – so we talk about movies, and I talk about how I hate Tarantino, right, which is like the coffee house director that everyone kind of – you know, if you don't like him, you're not cool or hip or whatever, right? But anyways, my whole thing with movies, there's two movies that most people absolutely loathe that I've used the term genius with. One of them is The Blair Witch Project. Because no movie had ever been shot that way before, and it made $155 million. It was like 3 college film students who made it, and it's just phenomenally genius what they did. The second is Napoleon Dynamite, which again is the first time I watched it, and I love telling the story because it's one of those movies you can't watch just once. Anybody you talk to who says that they hate that movie, you're like, well, did you watch it again? Because you know they've only watched it one time. Right. And I watched it once, and I remember sitting there stone-faced through the entire movie, not even cracking a smile, and being like, what the hell am I watching? And then the next day I was working at Shaw's at the time. I'm filling the milk cooler, and I go, it's like $1 an hour. And I just started cracking up, and I was like, you know what? I've got to go back and rewatch this thing. And then, of course, the second time I watched it, I couldn't stop laughing.
It's like $1 an hour. I love that part. The part in when he got the long Tina, you fat lard, come get your dinner.
Everything he says is just, and even the supporting cast when they go to the karate class, he's like, "You think I got where I am by dressing like Peter Pan over here? Forget about it."
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're gonna get into our way or no way segment. Before we do that, why don't you guys go ahead and start filling us up for our Shop Talk segment. Our Shop Talk segment is all for you, the fans, you guys who are watching with us live here. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. That is our motto. That's what we do. You want to throw out any question to us, throw it out. We will get to it in our Shop Talk segment. We will answer your questions. Doesn't even have to be sports related. You want to get personal? Get personal. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Wayne says you can only get personal to a point, though. I say fire away. So let's get to our way or no way. And so the first thing, and I threw this out there because we're going to have Soup Boss out there, and I knew this was going to throw a jab at him, especially since the Tampa Bay Lightning have been all over his Boston Bruins. And I know you've got a guy on your show, and Sully, who I gave a little bit of flack for having the Tampa Bay Lightning at number 1 heading into this series, but he's been proven to have been right. I mean, they're very good. I did say that the winner of this series would probably represent the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup. But I'm sorry, I got into the wrong way or no way. But
I started to sweat for a second because you're going to ask me a hockey questions on here.
But at any rate, so we got into the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Bruins have their backs against the wall. So going to another Boston team, the Celtics. Okay, and I kind of posed this question to you a little bit earlier. The Boston Celtics right now are the best team in the NBA.
So right off the bat, I'm coming with a kind of way because they're playing the best basketball of any team in the NBA, but the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. It's just in terms of talent and depth and all around, the Lakers are the best team in the NBA, but the Boston Celtics are number 1 in my power rankings because they are playing the best basketball right now. So kind of way for me.
I mean, do you see the little things over our heads right now? One says way and one says way with the no sign on it. I don't see anything in the middle here that says kind of way. So I don't, look, I accept this a little bit when we started the show and you were the co-host, and I was just like, all right, we'll let them go with it because it's kind of funny. Way or no way, Wayne? Wayne? or no way. The Boston Celtics. Look, this is definitely a way. Okay, the Boston Celtics right now are playing the best basketball out there. I think that they might even dispatch Toronto in 4. I could see a clean sweep here against Toronto, even though Toronto is a really good team. I just think the Boston Celtics are that much better. I think that just by watching the short period of time that I've watched them play in the bubble, the Boston Celtics to me look like the best team in basketball right now. They look to me like the one team that could probably knock off the Lakers. And so I have to go way here. I'm not going kind of way. I don't punk out. I either pick way or I pick no way. So,
well, yeah, I guess because it could go either way. I guess because like I think if I were to ask you, are the Celtics a better team in terms of talent than the Lakers? You would say no. And so when you say the best team in the NBA, it's kind of way because they're not the most talented team, but they're playing the best basketball.
Well, they're not the most talented because if you look at the Lakers, they have LeBron. If you take LeBron out of that comparison, then yeah, any team that has LeBron is automatically going to be probably the most talented team in the NBA because he makes his teams that much better. You know, when he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were probably the most talented team in the NBA because even though he was winning
Kyrie and Kevin Love too.
He was. LeBron James is the best basketball player on the court. He's the best basketball player of this generation. And so I get what you're saying there, but right now the Boston Celtics are the best basketball team in the NBA. All right. So moving on, we get Michael Buckheister, who, loves to talk about how Lamar Jackson's not a top 5 quarterback. And then I'm, watching a little bit of film from their practices last night, and he throws an interception, and he's not looking very good early. And then after that interception, it seemed to kind of woke him up because he did complete like 6 of his last 8 passes, and 2 of them went for touchdowns. One of them was a 40-yard bomb that he threw while he was on the run. So I ask you this. Lamar Jackson is going to regress in 2020.
I'm going to say way, and not regress in the sense that he's going to turn into a scrub. He's just to follow up a season where your touchdown to interception ratio is 6-1 and you ran for 1,200 yards. To go up from that is almost impossible. So I could see him going out there and having, 40 touchdowns, but maybe throwing 10 picks and, running for fewer yards because they really shouldn't be having him out there getting hit as much as he does. So statistically, he will regress, but I think that, he's still going to be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL this coming season.
Yeah, I see. Look, I say no way. I don't think this guy's going to regress.
You think he's doing better than he did last year?
Well, no, I think he's going to put up the same type of numbers. I don't think it's going to be a regression. I think it's going to be the same thing that you saw from him last. I think Lamar Jackson's the real deal. I think he is going to put together a full career of what we thought Michael Vick was going to put together when he was in Atlanta. I think that he is a guy who is going to change the course of what a quarterback is, him and Patrick Mahomes, because I think that they are the same type of quarterback. So I think that they are really changing what a quarterback is in the NFL. And Lamar Jackson is special, and he's going to do great things in Baltimore. And I think he's going to put up the same type of numbers. I think that they're going to be 14-2 this year. I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. And I have them actually in the AFC Championship game, and I have them in the Super Bowl. So I really think Lamar Jackson is the real deal, and I think that they're that good.
I think he's the real deal as well. But if I were to do over-under with you, like I said, last year he was 6th in the NFL in rushing with 1,200 yards. Yeah. If I said over-under 1,200.5 yards.
I would say he's probably going to rush for over, right? Because I think that they put it into his head that he could be, me and Supas talked about this last week, where somebody said that he could be the first quarterback to ever win the rushing title. And
850. He's going for 850 yards this year.
Yeah. So I think that, that's what he's going to strive for. And I think he's got the talent to do it. So I would say I would pick the over. Absolutely.
I think he's going to be 850 yards, and I think his touchdown to interception ratio is going to come down from nobody does 6-1. Like nobody does 6-1. So it's like he's got to be 4-1. 4-1 is Hall of Fame. So it's like he comes down to 4-1, I think, and that's a regression. So even though it's great.
Yeah. I gotcha. So moving on. So I've got another one. Now, I'm not high on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm really not. I don't think that – I think Dak Prescott is going to be a guy who feels like he is worth a lot more money than he is. I think he's already proven that he's not worth as much money as he's asking for. And I don't think that – I think he's a very good quarterback. I just don't think that he is what he thinks that he is. And I think he's going to push, and I think that he is going to press, and I think he's going to make a lot of mistakes this year looking for that contract. But that being said, CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper are going to be the best wide receiver core in the NFC in 2020.
Hardcore, no way. Because there's no way they're better than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. There's no way that those two guys are really good. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's a rookie. Don't get me wrong. He's a very, very talented player, and I loved watching him at Oklahoma. But there is no way that you're bringing in a rookie to go with Amari Cooper, who before he went to the Cowboys was a bust. And you're going to say those two guys are going to be the best receiving core in the NFC. I mean, who else do I have on my list here besides those two guys? I mean, I think Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are better than those two. Again, Metcalf's coming into his second year. If he stays healthy, that's another. How about Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, and DeAndre Hopkins? You're going to actually take CeeDee Lamb. I don't care. CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper combined aren't DeAndre Hopkins. And then you had Larry Fitzgerald, who had 75 grabs last year as an old man. But even if he gets you 68 is going to be more than CeeDee Lamb has this year. And Larry Fitzgerald's going to out-receive him. So
yeah. So I say no way, and I say no way only because of who their quarterback is. I do like them better than I like DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald, because I think Larry Fitzgerald is – I think he probably should have retired 2 years ago, even though he still keeps chugging and still keeps producing numbers. I just think he's on the decline.
Another guy waiting to fall off the cliff.
Yeah, and I don't feel like DeAndre Hopkins is everything that people make him out to be. I think that he is a prima donna wide receiver like most of the great wide receivers are, but I think he's one of those guys who wants the ball every down, and I think that forces quarterbacks to throw his way more than they would like to, even if he's covered. So I'm not as high on DeAndre Hopkins as I am some other guys. So I do like that wide receiver core of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb over them two. I do not like him over Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are, especially with Tom Brady throwing to them, are going to be the best wide receiving core in the NFC. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are probably going to be better than them too because they have Russell Wilson.
Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders would be another really good one. I mean, New Orleans is always up there. And so, I saw an article today that said that, CeeDee Lamb is looking really impressive, and Amari Cooper is looking better than he's ever looked before, and they're going to set the NFC on fire, and blah, 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 blah. I don't see them at maybe sixth or seventh best wide receiving core in the NFC, let alone the entire league. So, yeah, it is definitely a no way for me. So I agree with you there. All right, so we talked about this a little bit earlier. The MLB trade deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Once 4 p.m. hits, and unlike other years, if you remember, you could get guys off of waivers and all of that other stuff, and you can make moves even after the trade deadline had passed. But that's no longer the case in Major League Baseball. They scratched all that. They moved their trade deadline back. This year it was going to be, I believe it was going to be August 31st anyway, but there was no more waiver wire, so you can't pick anybody up. And I said this last week, but that last one is MLB trade deadline will pass at 4 p.m. tomorrow with little to no moves made.
I'm going to say no way, because it's going to be the last chance for these big market, high payroll teams that are in the basements of their division, while all these small market teams are at the top of the division, looking for any edge over the teams that they're playing with. And it's like, hey, listen, I got a guy who's making $30 million next year. This team needs a player at that position to give them that half game, 1 game edge over their competitor. those small market teams will trade for the big money. They will trade because these big market teams aren't going to be asking for a lot. So it's going to be like I'm not saying like a JD Martinez, but to give you an example of somebody who makes a lot of money, the Red Sox are completely out of it, right? And they say, listen, here's a guy that we'll give you for, your fourth best prospect, just to get him off our payroll. Right. And I think that teams like who are trying to make that push will take a player like that because they'll move him in the offseason, to not have him next year on the payroll, but they'll trade for him now for that postseason push and then trade him in the offseason. So I think that there will be at least 2 big name moves before the deadline.
Yeah, see, I said this last week. For me, this is a way. There's not going to be very many moves. There's not going to be very big name moves, and here's the reason why, Wayne. Now, I get what you're saying with it's going to be the last chance for these teams that are out of it to push off some